Welcome back to D&D in the world of Terra. Here tonight for some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Ark, or Jason, your local DM. With me, as always, is Lex playing Shae,
Hello.
Adam playing Phen,
What's up, guys?
Bobby playing Grim,
Hello.
and joining us for his second session is George playing Meidrax. So a couple quick world building things that have happened this week. I don't think it affects anyone's character directly. There are no such things as halflings, so we'll just move on from that.
Whoa,
What?
whoa, whoa,
What?
whoa.
Wait a minute.
I'm kidding. Carryover from Discord. If you're not on our Discord and you listen to these sessions, you should be, because we don't know who you are and we're very curious. Follow Bog Gaming on Twitter, figure out all that stuff, or visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Ba Gaming, all one word. I don't think it matters if it's lowercase or uppercase, but try to use letters and not numbers and symbols, because that won't get you anything. We're also working on a website currently. Hopefully have that live in the next month or so. Articles, reviews, gaming news. We'll have our forum for all of our members as well, and just anyone who wants to stop by and hang out. All right, world building for Terra. I'm currently working on a set of race-specific pantheons. I haven't really been happy with kind of everyone having the one pantheon. I've waffled back and forth on this for really the last like 8 years. This pantheon was made specifically for a game that was low fantasy, no magic, set in actually what we're using as the Eastern Continent. That's where the Eastern Continent came from originally, where Grimm is from. The gods rule everything, and it was this human pantheon because there was nothing but humans, and the Eastern Continent is almost entirely humans. Only pretty much visitors from the Westerlands are other races. The pantheons for the dwarves will add about it'll add good backstory for some of the creator gods, some of the lore for the Celestium pantheon came from, but it'll also add like 6 dwarven specific gods who will have some overlap with domains and whatnot. Elves are going to get, I think, 4-ish, 4 to 6 of their own, as well as other backstory for some of the creator gods and whatnot. Most of the older races, worship the major or creator gods more so than whatever. So their own pantheons are kind of the subset of that, whereas the Celestium kind of rose up in human civilization with the rise of the Age of Man. Orcs are going to get, I think, 3. Goblinoids are going to get 1. But also worship kind of their own thing. Huzzah, or Tabaxi in D&D terms, will get 1 goddess that's pretty key to their lore and backstory. Jarati will continue to just Jarati or Dragonborn will continue to just worship Geld, dragons, which are of course are mythological creatures in this world, not recorded monsters or entities within known history, at least revealed history of humans and the races that are old enough to have been there. They also worship the human pantheon because obviously those gods are real, and Jarati tend to kind of be on their own or in human civilizations. Halflings have no records of where halflings came from. It's just kind of like they showed up one day and they just all of a sudden melded into, not like poof halflings, but more like, oh, there's a halfling village to the side of this human village. Where did they come from? How did they come to be? So they just worship the same pantheon as well, because they're part of the Age of Man as far as any known history goes.
Could you say we just stumbled upon them?
Oh my god, get out of here, Lex.
They are always underfoot. That is
Oh
true.
my god.
Um,
Why do I play with you people?
so creator gods and Celestium for halflings. Uh, Gnomes will probably worship the same gods as the dwarves, with one or two gnome-specific gods, kind of like Glitter Gold in D&D. Um, Maybe also a goddess, maybe only a goddess. I haven't decided yet. That is actually kind of new territory for me as far as the lore of the world as to what they will get. All the elf gods will basically be a different type of like muse. So like there will be like one that's like quote unquote art, and of course art can mean any number of things, but it's more like fine art. And then there's like uh, the god of dance and whatever, and then poetry, and so those plus other domains, and they come together, and they are the doesn't matter. The other big thing, there will be no half elves. So caught you guys in time, obviously. Um, no half elves. It is impossible for elves and humans to mate and create offspring. And the reason for that is because elves in this world are 100% immortal. Not I live for 700 years and then kind of fade away or whatever. 100% immortal. Can be killed, not invulnerable, but immortal. Um, they choose when to die after they have filled kind of their life. So very similar to kind of just the same way that in D&D it works, where they pass their soul to just the next elf. There's a finite pool of elf souls, and so when the elf deems he's ready to give his soul to the next, back to the community, basically back to the world, he will, or she will give up her soul to a new elf. On very rare occasions, spoken of mostly in legend, an elf is born without a soul, or with a new soul, like one that has not experienced all the past lives of an elf soul. Um, and this has to do with the original Great War between dragons and demons, and the elves hiding in their forest rather than really helping, so they were punished. Um, in a way, Geld and Sylvana, the mother of elves, and wife of Gaima, the Forge Father and head of the whole major gods and whatnot, helped each other by giving elves this ability to pass souls back and forth. The souls are then protected by King Olaris, who is the king of the spirit world. He's he's not really an elven god, but he's basically an elven god. He'd be equivalent of like Oberon in our actual mythos and whatnot, and like how we understand that to exist. So he shepherds and keeps the elf souls in the spirit world until they are ready to come back to the material plane of existence and be born again into the world. Um,
So do the elves then tend to remember the past lives?
they do during trance, but kind of the same rules of D&D. They remember it more as children, and they don't share those stories um, with adults, or the adult elves do not. They teach the kids to like keep those stories to themselves rather than kind of sharing those secrets with like it's kind of a taboo to listen to the past lives of. And then as they get older, it shifts from them remembering kind of their past lives to them remembering their lives. And then as they get really old, then they start to remember various things from like actually being in the presence of the gods and the spirit world and the whole spirit pool of souls. And that's typically what kind of starts to signal when they're ready to give up their soul for the greater good, as they kind of start to understand that and say, okay, my life has been lived. Some do not. Some do not give up their souls, and they can live for um, thousands upon thousands of years. This might be in the case of like an elder elf who feels it's his duty to defend something for all times, right? And he might just be like a hermit who defends this one thing in the woods. It might be the case of an elf who has turned to evil, and instead of why go lich when you don't need to. Uh, Plus, then also maybe having lich powers after that. So it all kind of depends.
Got 99
Okay.
problems and a lich ain't one.
Well, which is going to be a lot of your problems if you play the cards right or wrong.
Or either way,
At
it's
all.
going to
Just
be
play
a
cards.
fun thing.
Grim doesn't play
Motherfucking
cards.
liches.
So that's kind of where I am with what I've been doing. And now that I've bored all of you, let's get into the game. So previously on D&D,
The good guys afflicted with mummy rot faced a golem with a harpoon-like arm in the crypt of an ancient fortress. They were able to defeat the construct with the help of a strangely powerful icon of Feral. Placing the icon in an altar, its magic sanctified the fortress and cured the good guys of their mummy rot. When they returned to Baytown, they met an interesting Gerati named Meidrax. He was a jeweler who was looking for answers about his uncanny power to cast arcane and divine spells. Meidrax wanted to find a ship to Altara to speak with priestesses there about his gifts. The good guys agreed to let Meidrax journey with them after a test of negotiation with the local smithy. Phen was able to find passage to Altara on a merchant ship that leaves in 2 weeks. The price of passage was to provide a ship wizard. Then the good guys decided to teach their new companion how to be said ship wizard.
I don't see what could possibly go wrong.
there was a brief
No, it's gonna
moment
be
where I
fine.
thought you said shit wizard, and I was like, well, here we go. Your words. Let's do this. Yeah, so what do you guys want to do? I have no plans. I did weird backstory. You guys do whatever.
Are we just on
Well-
the ship?
No, you're in Baytown.
We got 2 weeks before the ship leaves.
Oh, damn it. That's a
So-
lot of time to kill.
Feel free to push that fast forward button, but I will do shit in the meantime.
We should,
Fast forward,
Well,
and then
you know-
it's just you starve to death. Just,
There's not enough food.
you guys didn't say you wanted to eat.
it's just a lot of us being asked if we want anything and us just staring off into space blankly for weeks at a time. I say we find somebody who needs some help. There's got to be somebody around here that could use a hand till we get ready to go.
Yeah.
Remember that before we went into the forest, we saw that strange ship thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could go find out what that is.
Ship, you know what? We just might find out in 2 weeks on when that ship leaves. That's one more thing to look forward to on the high sea.
Yeah, let's how should we find it? That's going to be the trick. I think what we might have to do.
Do we just spread the word in town that we're looking for it and hope it gets back to them so that they'll try to attack and kill us on our journey, and then we can try not to die?
We could do that, or do something that won't kill us. So what we need to do is we need to douse the lights at the dock, because there was too much light interference that I couldn't get a good picture of it.
The best part about this is, for anyone who actually follows me on Twitter, or did at the time that I was debating what would happen, either in this game or the other one, you might have a very distinct opinion on what needs to be taken care of before or after the ships. That may not be this game. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't take away your base of operations. You're fine.
So, okay, we got to figure out a way to douse the lights, and then we all have to be like at separate lookout points.
Dousing the lights of the town, or dousing your own lights?
Dousing the lights of the dock.
Okay, well, there's the giant beacon tower.
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
Now, what you know from when you stood up in the tree is that the beacon does not reach. It's not like a spotlight. It's just like a flash of light that flares on and then kind of comes back off. Flares on and comes back off. It did not light up much of the quote unquote ship you saw, but it was just enough for that and the moonlight for you to kind of see okay, it looks like it's made out of metal. It looks like the waves are kind of lapping against it. It looks very low in the water.
Fucking submarine.
Yeah, and essentially that's kind of what it looks like to you, or something like, the old
Like World War
ironclad.
II U-boat.
More like an iron. Yeah, like a cross between that and like an ironclad Civil War ship,
Oh, okay.
where they're
Got
really
it.
flat in the water.
Well,
What are you
shit.
guys talking about?
Oh, fuck. We gotta explain that to him.
I mean,
Okay.
whoever knows, I listen to the videos.
All
but
right.
Meidrax doesn't.
Okay, Meidrax.
You're welcome to either do stuff like this. You're welcome to do in character, or just be like, we explain it to him. I'm okay
Yeah,
either way. So just a heads up.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That's half the fun of Meidrax is listening to what he's going to say.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I just don't want to put that onus completely on you guys. If you're just like, we tell him, that is acceptable to me at all times. If the entire party knows what we're talking about, like if every player knows what we're talking about, feel free to. But also feel free to RP it. So whatever you want to do. Just setting up for later games. However we want to work this out, go with it.
Okay, so there was a night, and I climbed to the top of that big tree, and Phen will point with both fingers at the tree. I climbed to the top of that tree just to see what was up there. I thought maybe there was going to be a secret door. There wasn't. We don't need to go exploring that. But I looked out over the water, and I saw a boat, like a big boat made of metal, and it was kind of low in the water, and like it was totally there, and I could barely see it. So what I'm saying is, I think if there was actually less light, it would be easier to spot and just not be able to understand the details because you're looking at the silhouette. But so what we need to do is we need to kill all the lights and then post all four of us in spots that have good views of the bay, and then we kind of just look for it.
Okay.
I seem to remember that it was it disappeared near the rocks or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So the bay is kind of somewhat crescent moon shaped, but it loops back in slightly on itself because it has a breakwater, obviously, because this is a big inland sea. So it essentially has a breakwater. So it's like closing, like crescent moon shape kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you saw it out past that breakwater. It's out beyond the harbor and off to the side.
Way out.
But you're kind of close to that side. Like Baytown's close to that side. It's like off. It's off-centered in that circular harbor.
How long would it take to get to those rocks?
Not long at all.
Like hour, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. We're not talking like a day.
No. I mean,
Okay.
you can see it. It would just take you a time to like walk over to it and like traverse and like maybe find a good path. Either you can go straight across and just have to worry about like climbing over these kind of big rocky outcrops and whatnot, and just people from town staring at you, and also probably being fairly visible to anyone watching. And your character would realize how out in the open you would be. Or you can try to find a way going south along the road, cutting through the wood, not the briarwood, because the briarwood's on the other side, but cutting through part of the woods and trying to find like a beach or other approach to those rocks.
Okay. So I think that's going to be the easiest way to spot the boat if it comes back. Hey, Arch, would I have any like rumors potentially from being out on the boat of knowing about boats that can go underwater and
No, you're not
like
familiar
a
with this at all.
submarine? Okay.
You're familiar with big armored boats from the Durnhost Empire, but we're talking like those are like fantasy style, like big badass, like, oh, I want that model type boat, not like, oh, what is this? This is weird.
Okay.
I think we should at least have a look and see. Maybe we can find something about what they were doing, what it was doing there.
Yeah. I mean, we're with Shae, the hero of Baytown.
I'm in.
Maybe we're just exploring. Who cares if we get seen?
Yes, stand aside, plebeians. We're heroing.
Well, I'd like to take the route through the forest, though, and see if we can
That's
find
probably a
some
good
more.
idea.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's go, Shae.
Awesome.
All right, so this is the next. No, you went to the dock super early in the morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're probably you guys want to say around 9 o'clock morning?
Sure.
Are you grabbing breakfast or anything, or just gonna kind of do like rations type? No, I'm not saying like you have to count your rations of what you have in your bag, but just like stop and be like, Mirbo, biscuit, thanks, okay, bye.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
Definitely some road food.
Phen will ask for 2.
Mirabelle
They're
actually
called
doesn't
rations.
work the mornings because she works late at night. There is a younger woman, like a 15-year-old. You don't know. You don't think Taryn has kids, so you don't know whose daughter she is. Maybe one of the cooks. And she comes in and like prepares the porridge and biscuits in the morning and all that for whoever is coming to eat. Usually for locals because there's other cooks for the people traveling through and whatnot. So this is kind of like you've seen her with Mirabelle maybe like once, and it's kind of like a kid sister type relationship, but you don't know who she actually is. Her name is
Okay.
Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, Phen's
But
gonna
we,
say hi and ask her all the questions while she's getting our food together.
What are all the questions?
Just
Does
Like
she
stupid
anything
need a
that
questions
gem
like
cutter,
answering?
a jewel crafter?
no, yeah, like favorite color, that kind of thing. Phen
Oh.
likes children, like human children, because they're more fun because they will play games with him.
Her favorite color is green. Her hair is blonde. She has green eyes. She dresses in kind of like standard peasant fare. Uh, she always has a little bit of dirt stain on like her knees or like cheeks from playing out with like the cats or something.
Yeah.
Does she need a gem cutter, jewelry crafter, or jewelry repairman?
She goes, okay, bye! And then she runs into the back after giving you your food.
I forgot about that.
I don't know how.
Are we going to the rocks?
To the rocks, through the woods.
All right,
Figure
let
out
me,
Over the river and through the woods?
Yeah.
all right, is anyone trained in survival? I need a character sheet open so that I know what the actual skills are. George, you ever find yourself like completely forgetting what a character sheet says while you're running a game and being like, "Someone give me your sheet."
define trained.
Do you have the skill, and are you trained in it? Like, do you have proficiency in it?
Phen does.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
Phen, you get to roll survival check. That's how we're gonna for random things that like one of you hasn't brought up. I'm gonna be like, oh, if you're trained in it, you can roll.
I'm casting mage armor on myself, by the way.
Okay, tax of the day. Is it free for you? No, that's a warlock thing.
Oh.
Never mind, it's a warlock
That's
thing.
it.
Sorry.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's warlock.
21. Rolled a 19.
Oh, I thought you were
Boom.
rolling a natural one.
Surviving the shit out of
Very
this.
easily find, and you're like, you're weirdly focused, like with your biscuit. Like you're just kind of like eating biscuit and like walking around, and then you finish the biscuit and you kind of wipe your hands and you look at the ground and you determine like with the position of the sky and you can see the tree and you're like, this is where we need to cut across. And then you get the other biscuit and you start shoveling in your face and you're just kind of like slowly pushing biscuit and like little mouth is going and like little crumbs start to fall, but they actually just get sucked back into your mouth. Like you don't make a mess at all. The biscuits
Can't be
are
wasteful.
nice and buttery. Sarah always takes good care of you guys because she likes you and you're interesting because you're adventurers who stuck around and didn't just pass through town. So you get into the woods. You're guessing that by going this way, you're closer to the 2-hour journey. So now you're probably about an hour outside of town, and now you're inside the woods. It's early morning, so you get kind of that like nice still air of kind of woodsiness. No, it's just nice like still forest. Um, a good English morning, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. So I'm still trying to open a character sheet while also talking to you guys. The the trees here are mostly like oak and just kind of normal stuff. I mean, you're not in like pine tree land. You're not in certainly not in like tropical forest. And unlike the briarwood, there's not a lot of overgrowth. There are bushes and whatnot, so you do have to kind of like navigate your way around. But it's much easier to just kind of like push through. You're not having to deal with vines or thorns, other than the occasional like kind of sticker plant and whatnot. Um, Go ahead and give me anyone who thinks they would be on guard. Give me a perception check. You can also make a perception check if you are trained in perception.
14.
17.
Anyone beat a 14?
17.
Okay. The two of you notice a few scratches at the base of a tree as you pass, and you think back to when Falcon was missing, and his dad and their horse was attacked by wolves. So it kind of makes you think that you might need to be on guard a little bit more, because there might be wolves out, especially kind of in this time of day. They might be finishing their
Who was that, Grim, that saw that?
And Phen.
Yeah, anyone with a 14 or over.
Do you point it out to the rest of us?
No, do I notice that Phen notices?
So, when Phen notices...
When you look back... Yeah, so, sorry, Adam, real fast. You kind of look at the thing, you look back, and you see that Phen is looking directly at the same spot as you. So yes, but the other two are looking the other way.
I don't want to panic anybody. I'm just gonna swallow hard and pee a little.
So when Phen notices, whatever is left of the biscuit in his hand is now in his mouth, and he just casually like brushes off his hands and then draws his sword and shield.
Okay. Just also as a point of mechanics, that will be the last time I ever, unless I forget, I ever ask you for a perception check in this game. From now on, I will use your passive perceptions or rely on you guys asking for them. All right? I'm not punishing. I don't mean it in like a way. I'm just saying. At least until I decide that this is not how I want to do it. Let's go with that.
Oh, okay.
That's usually how I run as well. Choose passives as they ask.
I feel like I ask for, because it preps you guys too much for like weird stuff going on. In this case, I just kind of wanted to kind of remind people of various things that you've seen. We do play often enough that I kind of expect you guys, like if I dropped a name that you had heard like 3 sessions ago, I would expect you guys to recognize that. That may not be the case, but it is nicer for me when you do, because then I don't have to explain. It's nice. Good.
Those are some high expectations.
Well, it's similar to like if you've ever watched Crit Roll, and I know George does, and I don't know who the rest of you, if the rest of you do, but there's a moment where one of the characters has a deep backstory with these 2 particular people who happen to be named Briarwood, and the moment the DM mentions them, like very quickly, offhandedly, in a conversation about something else, just the player just starts like looking around, like, and gets like nervous and starts like being like, what? And then he kind of just like sits back and thinks about it for a while, and you just can watch him react to it for the rest of the conversation. That's a really nice feeling as a DM. Granted, I can't see your faces doing that, but like you guys stringing together various things is going to be very rewarding to me. So,
Okay.
if possible, here and there.
Wait, you want to have fun too?
No, I don't actually. I'm here. I'm here to kill and be killed. Eat and be eat. All right. So anyway, especially because I have this cheat sheet that has all your passive perceptions on it, so I'm just going to go with that from now on. And that's why 14 was the number to beat, because both of you have 14 as your passive perception. And Meidrax is just oblivious. With his 8. Alrighty. Grim, do you do anything special? Phen has drawn his sword and shield, which would kind of probably be something the others noticed.
Yeah, no, I've already
Although Phen is
done
very fidgety, so.
my preemptive pheromone dousing when I peed a little. Hopefully that'll ward off any beasts.
He's gotten out his little kerchief that carried by the Russian sniper woman, so that way her perfume calms all the dogs and he can sneak through their cave from now on.
It's like that, except what's on it is my pee.
That was a different option where you could get the baby wolf to pee on your box, and then you could go in the box.
No, that was.
Moved.
I'm not that hungry yet.
Dun 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 dun. All right. Okay, you continue on through the woods. You notice that it does start to get kind of three-dimensional here. There start to be kind of like little rises and breaks of rock, mossy-covered stone, and whatnot. So you can kind of stay flat, or you could go up a little bit. You can also travel a little bit more south, or you can just continue to go east towards water. West. I'm sorry, west. If you want to change anything at all.
I'm just following them.
Yeah, where are we going, Phen?
I think we should go to higher ground so we can get a better lay of the land. See a little bit further out there.
Okay. You kind of start up a rise, and it takes a little bit of effort climbing some rocks to kind of get a position to where then you can pull yourself up and climb over and start kind of traversing. This doesn't stay high for too long. It kind of dips back down, never quite to the same below level, but it does start to peel a little bit more south than you kind of intended, but not so far or so much that you're not still going in the right direction. And actually through some of the trees, because now you're kind of in the canopy of the lower trees with other trees behind you, you can actually start to see the water. And as you look back, you can see portions of Baytown through various breaks and whatnot.
So through triangulation from here, can I see about where the ship would have been?
You can't physically see it, and you're not entirely sure because you know as well as anyone how distance on water kind of plays tricks on you.
Yeah.
But you at least think that you generally know where the rock of the harbor is and the water break or the wave break.
Okay. So I'll point all that out to Grim and Shae. And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your character's name.
Meidrax.
Meidrax. I'll point it out to Grim and Shae and Meidrax and kind of say, this is where I saw it, and I'm totally not crazy. Like, kind of help so they can see where I'm trying to get a good view of.
Sure. And they actually have kind of a better vantage. Once they stop trying to see at your level through whatever area you're seeing through and they just kind of look, they can start to see the wave break. And they know it was out beyond that, but not by how much. You'd guess probably at least like 50 feet off of it, and then kind of out from shore another probably 100 or 150 feet.
Okay. So I'll kind of start looking for a good vantage point for that and ask the three of them if they see anything as well. Like see where we could try to get a good spot.
Okay, Phen certainly can give me a perception check. Anyone trained in stealth nature. No, I'm sorry. Stealth, survival, or perception can also give me a perception check.
Instead of a perception check, can I take my stealth check?
I will let you take double proficiency on
Okay.
so you can add another +2 or whatever.
Okay, so that will be a 18.
Okay. You see that does anyone beat an 18? Okay. You see up ahead there's like the beginnings of like some holly bushes, or whatever the equivalent is, so kind of thick bushes on like the ridge line. And you think if nothing else, that will give you something to kind of hide behind, so you can look out from there. It's on what looks like a precipice, and beyond it, the trees look like they break enough that you could probably get a good view of something while being pretty concealed.
Perfect.
What are we doing? What's everybody looking at?
I'll point out the holly bushes and kind of explain what you just said.
All right. So I'm guessing you kind of like skedaddle over towards them.
Yeah.
Okay. As you do, you see that the ground below and kind of off a little ways starts to break a little bit more, and you can see the formations of kind of like a pebbly beach, not a sand beach, but like a pebble and rock beach. Starts to kind of form and then goes down into you can actually start to see the lapping water now. And what you weren't expecting is you see what looks to be a fire circle and a couple of small boxes, like wooden boxes set up, and like there's like a tarp nearby, a pack, and so you're kind of like leaning through like part of the holly bush, and you see what looks kind of like the remains of a camp down on the beach.
Oh.
But you do
I
not
will
see people.
I will immediately stop and like stop moving and like immediately try to hide.
Okay.
Just to make sure, like.
I have made your stealth check.
Okie dokie.
Rest of you, do you join him behind the bushes?
I'm going to use message to send a telepathic message to Phen and ask him what he sees.
Okay.
I'm just going to stare at him hiding behind the bushes and look out. Look back at him, shrug my shoulders.
Yeah, Shae will try to hide, but...
Okay.
So you said I could reply?
Yeah, basically he whispers a message and you hear it clearly, for over the full 120 foot distance. It's like he's whispering to you, like directly. So it's not fully telepathic, but it's like a whisper, and then you can whisper back to him.
I'll respond and tell him what I see.
All right.
Okay.
So as the rest of you kind of take up positions, I'm going to roll just a group stealth check, modified by Phen's stealth check, whether good or bad. Okay, so you all kind of get into the bushes, with those of you who are less stealthy, kind of pricking yourselves on the sharp leaves and rustling a little bit more than you maybe wanted to. Phen, you felt like you got pretty well into the bush, into a hiding spot quietly, and the rest of the group not quite as well. So you're kind of just like,
It's
Sorry.
chance I could use my inspiration on that stealth check.
I'm gonna say for the purposes of the way I did it as kind of a group check, no.
Okay.
But yeah, don't forget anyone who has inspiration, which I think is the whole party. Don't forget you have that. Also, did I hand out XP last game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, no.
Well, I don't remember how much I gave out, so if it was more than 1,000, you want to say yes, otherwise you're screwed. Let's see here. You kind of wait in the bush. It doesn't seem like anything, like you don't all of a sudden take arrows to the chest or anything, so you're feeling pretty confident. After a while, you hear movement on like the stones below, and you look down, and there's a big dog walking across the beach.
Like
You think it's a wolf at first, but it's not. It's like a big like hunting dog. Probably not too far removed from a wolf, but not like a mastiff. It doesn't have that build, but it's a big dog.
Okay.
Like a guard dog type thing. And
Rottweiler.
It's kind of like got its nose down a little bit, and it kind of paws over to the camp and kind of starts like sniffing at one of the bags, and then you hear a whistle sound, and the dog kind of gets out of the bag and looks back across the beach to the south, and you see a man who looks a little disheveled. He's wearing like a long brown coat with like kind of wide sleeves, not like a wizard robe, but more like duster type coat, or like a pirate coat, with the big sleeves, or just like hobo clown, right?
Go ahead.
He just looks a little bit dirty, but he's wearing what look kind of like in like the city you would think that he was like a factory worker. That's kind of like his look. And he walks over, and the dog kind of gives him a little bit of berth and comes up to him, and he kind of pats the dog, and then picks up the pack, puts it on one of the crates, and starts kind of going through it, grabs something out, and then sits on the other crate, and like takes a bite of what you think might be like jerky or some sort of other food. And he sits kind of looking at what is essentially just the slightly smoking remnants of a campfire.
Does this campsite look like it has housed more than one person, or does it just look like a one-man site?
It has housed very few people. You think certainly less than 5.
All right.
Unless they all just picked up and left. But you're guessing probably 1 to 3.
Okay.
It could easily be 1, but you could see where like a hunting party or something of like 3 people could have made camp here.
Okay.
That's what the dog looks like, like a hunting companion type dog, or that kind of thing.
He doesn't appear to have any weaponry or anything like that.
You don't see anything from your vantage. He's sitting on a crate facing like kind of towards you and to the south. So he's at like a 30-degree off of you, and his coat kind of is long, and down on the ground around him, his like legs are spread, and he's kind of just got his arms on his knees, and he's leaned over and he's eating.
Whatever he's eating.
Yeah, he's not looking up at you, but he's kind of open to you, and you don't. He has like you can't really make it out from this distance, but he has like probably a belt, but you can't see if he has a sword or anything on it.
Right. Okay.
And you can't tell if the pack has anything in it.
But he doesn't, like, he's clearly not carrying a bow or a
Not
spear.
that you can see, no.
Right.
Meidrax asks, "Do we attack?"
No, not yet. We don't know who this guy is. He could just be hunting.
Should we ask?
I mean, we could. It doesn't look like. I mean, if these are sailors from that boat, I don't expect them to just have a handful of them off the boat. So, I mean, we could probably go talk to these guys and just say, hey, just see, try to get a feel for them. If there's more than one of them.
So, I could pull out my holy symbol and try to look mostly priest and walk up and say hi.
I don't think we need to do a big show.
I could play the old Lost Priest game.
I think we could just go talk to him. I mean,
Just pop up out of the woods and go, hiya.
well, I mean, he probably would have hid had he heard us, like taking cover. You never know out here.
Do we see the rocks we were looking for to look out over the lake?
Yeah, you can see the wave break beyond.
Okay.
This beach kind of like, so the wave break forms like the top part of the S, and this beach is like the bottom part of the S.
Oh, okay.
Not quite that curvy, but
I got you. I'll follow y'all's lead.
he's maybe about 50 to 60 feet away from the wave break.
Unless you want me to go out there and be the first one to talk to him.
That's a
Just
terrible
continue to
idea.
need jewelry.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
That's no. I think that's exactly the way to go.
That could be fun.
Well, it'll take him by surprise too. He won't know what to think.
Yeah. And then we can come up. Sorry, we lost our mage.
Actually, no. If he says no, you just keep walking down the trail a little bit. We'll come up behind and be like, "Hey, man, are you a jeweler?" We really need a jeweler, and we were hoping maybe you were one. A nice jeweler's dog. Looks really cool. I think it's an option.
I'm down for whatever. I don't think we need to have like a big story or anything. Just tell them we're out wandering around. We're adventurers. If they're from the town, they know that. I mean, I think that we're not known enough out here that it would matter who we are. And because this is I just forgot the word, like a throughput for people like that, then I think it's fine. Let's just be ourselves.
Okay.
Just leave the big boat out of it until we feel comfortable.
Grim will stand up. Brush myself off. And start walking towards the guy with a big smile on my face.
Should I stay back, being a folk hero and all?
Now, of course, you're up on the cliff, so you're going to have to go kind of around, down and around, and then come out. So you either have to do it from kind of far off to the left, or a little bit closer to him on the right. You can pretty quickly get down on your right and approach like straight onto him, or you can approach him from further south on the beach. But you're not entirely sure how far you have to go south on the beach to get down. Or you can try to just get down the cliff, but he's gonna watch you fumble and whatnot.
Laugh when we fall on our ass. How far is that cliff? Like how
From
how
him?
high is it?
You're probably about like 25 to 30 feet up. It's not super steep and it's rocky. You could easily kind of get down, but it would take time and it would be obvious. There's also a straight view from him to there. You're only blocked right now by the holly bushes. And you're probably 80 feet from him.
And there's a path that goes like through his camp? Or just near
no,
it?
you can just get down. You can back away from like the cliff edge and go down and to one of the spots where like the kind of the hill was lower to the ground, hop down and then approach him like straight on from the woods. Or you can try to go all the way around and up the beach, but you haven't been that way, so you're not sure how long
That'll take.
Okay, I'll just start walking like towards him, but not towards him. If that makes sense. Like I'll
Yeah,
walk up
like-
the trail like I'm gonna walk past him and just kind of smile. Like when I'm backpacking, if I accidentally wander through somebody's camp, I'm like, oh hey, sorry, going down here for a minute.
Okay. As soon as you kind of like emerge or get close, the dog perks up and starts to growl. And the moment that the dog kind of sees you, the man stops what he's doing and looks, and then he spots you. And he kind of looks at you and he starts to stand, and his hands go to his hips.
I make
It's
sure-
attacking.
I make sure that my holy symbol is like well in view, and I like raise my hands and just wave and smile, and keep slowly walking, kind of like around his camp. Great day for a beach, huh? You're gonna go walk on the beach.
The dog
Hope I'm
starts
not
to
bothering
move.
you.
The dog starts to move, and he takes his hand and grabs it by the scruff of the neck and kind of holds it back. But now it's kind of like growling, and it bares its teeth, and it's like snarling at you. And he kind of like makes a little sound and like whispers something at it, and it kind of calms down a little bit. But it's watching you, and its ears are back.
That's a good dog.
And
Good dog.
the man kind of looks at you, and being the war cleric that you are, you know that he has pushed his kind of coat out of the way so that he can reach something on his hip, but he's not making a move for it. And he just kind of says, "Aye, yeah, I'm just having a bit of breakfast before I set out."
At this point,
he
Phen will kind of pop out.
He doesn't sound like the locals. He doesn't have the same accent. You think he's a traveler from probably either south, although it's not a heavy Dernhost accent.
Not back from where we started.
Or back east.
Ooh.
So, are we following Grim, or we're still in the
I was
bush?
under the impression you guys were still on the cliff, but I could be wrong.
I will follow Grim at a decent distance.
I'm still at the cliff.
Are you trying to be stealthy?
No.
Okay. As soon as you kind of come into view, the man, he's going to be a little bit taken aback because obviously you're not a human. His hand there will be like the slight, like probably imperceptible click of him undoing the clasp of something. And he says,
I'll
go ahead.
I'll chuckle and say, Meidrax! Don't you hate it when you thought you lost your jeweler?
Yeah. I suppose. Hi, I'm Meidrax Nexmanus. I'm a jeweler with the House Labara Guild.
He kind of looks
If
over
you
both
need
of you.
any gem cutting, jewelry crafting, or jewelry repair, you can contact me.
I'll be kind of on your shoulder, but behind you just a little bit, and sort of mouth the word sorry.
You're probably about, I don't know if you kept approaching him, but probably at the moment where like you guys kind of stopped and he like grabbed the dog and all that, you're probably about 40 feet from him. I don't know if you kept going forward, but I'm gonna ask Meidrax to make a deception check, not because you're lying necessarily, but because you're putting on a front. It's just to see if like, hey, do you give away that you guys are suspicious and weird?
Okay.
Smile can look friendly or like you want to rip out a throat.
It'll be, of course, versus an insight check.
Oh, yeah. I got a crit.
Nice. I think we're playing no crits on skill checks.
Okay. Well,
But
24 then.
I do want to know if it's a natural 20, because I do give consideration and like some sort of benefit from it, but I don't know that I'm not playing where a 20 allows you to do whatever nonsense like automatically that you want to do.
Okay.
But it most likely is always going to be a success, I guess I should say.
So, natural 20,
You
got
did
a
not
24.
need it because he rolled a 2, but so you like, this is the most charismatic you've ever been. You like shoot him little finger guns. You're like, yeah. Or Grim does that for you. I don't know.
I was going to say, this is a side of Meidrax I've never seen in the last 2 days.
He probably doesn't actually do that. It's just that's the vibe you're giving off. The guy
gun vibes.
The guy relaxes a little bit and says, "What are you doing here? It's an odd place for that."
Beach picnic.
I'm looking for work to get across the lake.
He says, "There's a town on the other side of these rocks.
Baytown.
You should, you should try there."
I did.
He kind of looks antsy, like he's not sure if you're gonna stay, or if he's gonna leave, or what's happening.
Guess we better get to the beach. Sorry to have bothered you. Let's go.
Where are you going? Because I mean, it's like 15 feet of rocks and then water, or like pebbles and then water, and he's just kind of there with like a full view of the whole beach. So I don't. Just
We lost our halfling guide, so I guess we go over the rocks, Meidrax?
So Phen will at this point, like...
We are going to those rocks, and I point to the rocks we were looking for.
So Phen will pop out and say, guys, come back.
Immediately when you pop out, his hand goes back to his belt, and the dog barks sharply.
So, have I ever seen pistols?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're rare, but yes.
Okay. So you a hunter out here, or just kind of talk to him a little bit?
And he's started to draw something up. You're not sure if it's like a knife or what. But because he hasn't got his coat pulled back anymore, it's still kind of under that. And he's eyeing you because you're up on the cliff. Are you trying to make your way down the cliff, or are you just up in the holly? Because you're like 80 feet away from him if you're up in the bushes.
I'm still in the bushes.
So all he can see is like you're staying on your tiptoes, so you can kind of see like your outstretched chin and your head over the bush. He says,
I'll go to the point where like he can see that I'm not.
Okay, as you come around.
I'm not being threatening.
As you come around, those of you who are closer, you can tell that he's looking at the short sword and shield, and he says, "How many of you are there out here?"
That's you don't need to know that. But
when you say
I got
that,
a couple of questions.
No, when you say that, he kind of jumps back, pushes over the crate, draws a wide-mouthed pistol, and points it directly at Meidrax. And he lets go of the dog, and the dog gets low and starts snarling.
I start holding back my regurgitation.
Initiative.
Phen got an 18.
I'm going to go
17.
down a list of numbers here. Did anyone get over a 20? Nope. All right. 20 to 15?
17.
17 here too.
18 for Phen.
Who has the higher dex between the two of you on the 17s?
I have a +1.
I've got +2.
Okay. What'd you get, Meidrax?
13.
What's your dex?
3.
Okay. Anyone like to say anything?
So is it very clear that he is going to start taking shots?
Not necessarily. You can insight check as your bonus action on this, but the way that you said he didn't need to know how many of you are there, you don't know if he's just defending himself from like, oh shit, I'm being ambushed by guard or by bandits, or like, oh, they're on to me evil plans, like, then this is a stain. So it could go either way on that one.
Right.
But you're not sure if when his turn comes, if you guys don't attack, when his turn comes up, you're not sure if he's just going to shoot. That is an uncertainty at the moment.
Okay. I'm going to say we don't want to fight. I got some questions.
The guy spits and says, "Who are you? Who sent you?"
Meidrax Nexmanus. I'm a jeweler with House Labara.
He
I can do some gem cutting, crafting, and jewelry repair if that's what you need.
he cocks back the hammer further on the. It's like a flintlock, but not quite. It's not like a nice pepper box or anything, but it's also not like just an old shoddy. Because remember, this world is just steampunk enough to like have cool stuff, but not be like uber crazy. It's not a. You do not recognize firearms. They're not common enough that you know, but you also know that they're not carried by like peasants and hunters
Yeah.
that are also rare in the military.
Hmm.
I mean, there will be groups of people like, oh, okay, here's our rifle group or whatever, but artillery is more common. The bigger stuff is easier to make, apparently.
So down this hill, what's the like degree of slope?
I'm gonna say you're already pretty close to the bottom if you were coming out and getting down, um, but 60.
Okay.
But there's plenty of little like ledges and outcrops you can kind of like jump down and move and whatnot.
Okay. I will. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and do initiative. I'm pretty sure I'm first, but
You are.
okay. Yeah. So Phen is going to double move down the cliff,
Okay.
but I'd like to use an acrobatics check to not be slowed.
I will accept that or athletics check, yeah.
22.
Easily, yeah.
Okay. So that's 50 feet is my double move.
Okay, so you get 40 feet closer to him, which puts you 40 feet away from him. And you're about the same distance to him as the rest of your party, except Shae. You're just a little bit further over to the side. Like you're
Okay.
like 60 degrees around the clock, looking from the top. As soon as you like get out past the cliff though, and kind of get to the edge of your movement, because obviously you don't actually physically stop. That's just a mechanic of the game.
Right.
There's a cacophonous from down the from somewhere down the beach that you do not see. Um, what is your armor class? Let's see. You are a
17 with the shield.
17 with the shield. I'm gonna say this is not coming from your shield side though, which
Okay.
I realize there's no facing, and I will try not to pull this shit on you guys often, but I'm gonna treat this as a surprise or a sneak attack
Sure.
because this was a held action by someone else with a higher initiative in Overwatch essentially.
Cool.
He rolled high enough to hit you in that regard.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, you just feel this blam to your left shoulder, and it just hits hard. Nothing has ever hit you this hard. It's just like being kicked by a mule. Um, oh, that wasn't rolled. Ignore that. You take 20 points of damage.
Gee.
And I will scream, motherfucker, in my best Samuel L. Jackson voice. So
Now you
20
know.
points of damage.
Yeah. Piercing as a large mini ball just fucking lodges through your armor and into your. I presume Chirp is in his left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So into the Chirp hand. I will allow Shae to make a perception check. It's Shae's turn as well. You can make a perception check to see if you can see where that came from.
Oh, that'll go well. 13.
You do see some smoke trailing up from an outcropping of rock down the beach further. But you don't see an actual person. You just see the smoke. And you have very limited knowledge of firearms, but you are aware of what they are and what they do. But you couldn't be like, oh, this was a this or this or this. But you presume it was some sort of long rifle. Maybe like an arquebus or something to that effect. Musket. Flintlock rifle.
You're just naming stuff now, don't you?
Yeah, basically.
I figured.
But some sort of long rifle, probably. And no one made that shot with a pistol.
Had a
So,
dog
something
face in the
heavy
banana
caliber.
patch.
I'm sorry, say? It is Shae's turn.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked at seeing my friend just get shot like that. How far away am I from the fight?
80 feet horizontal.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But you're like 120 feet from where you think the sniper is.
Oh, okay. I think I'll just shoot in the general direction of the sniper if I can.
Depends on what
Yeah, I think
you're
I'll
trying
do
to
it.
do.
With an Eldritch Blast, just try and keep his head down, so to speak.
Okay.
Fire at the smoke.
It's basically like someone fires this, ballistic, or, and then all of a sudden just like the railgun laser like response of like,
Yeah, from a
Fucking
bush.
Necrons
Well,
versus Empire.
you don't have to roll to hit, but I want you to roll to see like how kind of close you get and all that, and like how much it affects him. It's almost like making a deception check, but you're not making a deception check. Also, if you roll really, really well, you might actually get lucky.
Okay. So I'm just rolling to attack still, or?
No, just a straight up D20.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'll let you add your aim, because you can aim for the center of the rocks or whatever.
Okay.
Sorry.
13.
You kind of just hit the side of the rock outcropping. You're pretty sure not where the guy actually is, but you may have bought him getting down to reload rather than staying in Overwatch. Hard to tell because you don't actually see any movement or a person.
With Eldritch Blast, can you change the type of damage it does?
No.
Like,
It's always
No.
force damage.
it is force damage? Okay. That's what I wanted to change it to, so... to make sure that it's like actually rattling the rocks and maybe causing some to fall.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely like hits and like, but no, I don't think.
And I'm
it'll do
getting-
damage to anything significant.
And I'm going to lie down on the ground and try not to get hit.
Just drop.
Yeah.
All right, it is Grimm's turn. Grimm, you are 40 feet from the guy and the dog.
And I can't see the sniper spot.
He's just around like kind of the curve of this cliff from you. If you move out about 10 feet, you could probably look down the beach and see it.
Just follow the laser.
Follow the pew pew.
Which also you wouldn't have been able to
Guy
see.
and dog, have they shown any? I mean, that guy's obviously in cahoots
He
with
cocked
Shooter.
the hammer back further. You without making a further test, you're not sure. But you think he's going to attack probably.
I'm pretty sure he's friends with the guy that's shooting. That guy was obviously shooting at us, not him.
Yeah, but
See,
that guy
that
was
changes
also
everything.
overwatching. So again.
My plan was that we leave and he was still alive, but now my plan has changed.
Non-lethal.
It is an option.
Not with guiding bolt, it's not.
No, not with guiding bolt.
And that is what
Remember,
I will
you can't
cast.
interrogate a dog.
That I will cast
Without a
in his
druid.
direction now. Make a ranged spell attack. It goes like this. Oh, that would be a 19.
Hit.
4 on the D's of 6.
Yeah.
15.
How do you want to do this?
Shit.
So kind of like just this beam of golden energy shoots down out of nowhere, just sort of incinerates him.
That's not
Like,
what this
literally-
spell does.
What?
Actually, you're fine. Keep going.
Flash of light streaks toward a creature of my choice within range. That's how I wanted it. You asked how I wanted this to go.
Oh, now you've started something.
Just
Oh,
saying.
shit.
Cooks him
Oh,
good
mummy rot.
inside out like a microwave.
Right.
And Grim kind of looks over his shoulder and goes, "Oops."
Should have targeted his dog.
Meidrax.
I am totally stunned, as I did not expect us to kill these people. But
Neither
then-
did I, but now they're shooting at us.
Okay. I'm going to.
If you're
And-
just so you know, if you're puking on the pile of ash, you have advantage.
No, I'm going to focus my acid breath on the dog.
What's your DC?
It's DC 11 dex save.
Yeah, he clears that. So half
okay.
damage.
Does it? I'm not sure.
I think it does.
I want to use my movement to run over to Phen as well.
Okay, it is. Okay. So it's 10 reduced to 5 acid damage.
The dog whimpers, but also snarls.
Okay, and then I will bonus action cast Healing Word on Phen, who was shot, right?
For
Okay.
20 damage.
Well, that's a lot. 7. Heal for 7, Phen.
As you turn to cast Healing Word, the dog leaps at you. So you get the spell off. The dog leaps at you and attacks. It rolls a 16.
That's my armor, but I'll cast Shield.
Okay. You repel its jaws, and it kind of whimpers to the side. It is now Phen's turn. I'm sorry. Did you actually roll for the health, or did I interrupt that?
No, he did. He
Okay.
rolled a 7. You're good. So the dog is attacking the Meidrax
Dog
right
is
now.
on Meidrax, yeah.
And he's 40 feet away from me.
I can handle the dog. Focus
yeah.
on the sniper.
Can I see the smoke from the sniper? Can I see
Take
where?
a perception check.
That is a 22.
You can actually see the sniper in the rocks. He's like behind like one kind of boulder with some other boulders kind of behind him and over him, and you can see him. He's got this. He's reloading his rifle, and there's a little smoke trail coming out. It looks like kind of a bit of a flared end, but it looks more like an arquebus than like a shorter range musket.
How
Okay.
far away is it?
I'm sorry.
How far away is it?
From Phen, about 120 feet.
Okay.
I thought it was 120 feet from Shae.
She's more or less directly behind you and just up.
Oh, okay.
I don't Euclidean this, so it's just horizontal.
Okay. Okay.
Unless that becomes a problem, then we might look into it. But
Yeah. So Phen will drop the sword and board and whip out the longbow and take a shot at the
Okay.
sniper.
he has significant cover.
Sure. As I'm taking the shot, I'm going to holler, Shae, follow my arrow. Let's see.
She immediately loses it in the fact.
17 to hit?
Total?
Yeah.
Anything you want to
You know what? I will inspire that. I want to make sure I hit.
roll again? Inspiration gives you advantage.
So yeah, 17.
All right. The arrow hits the boulder like a foot to the side of the guy. So like pretty much a narrow miss and clouds, but he ducks down, and you can still see him kind of loading, but he's aware now. You missed him by like
Shit.
one.
Shae breaks cover and goes to fetch the arrow.
Don't fetch it! Shoot him!
Use the dog for that. It is Shae's turn.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
Remember, I promised that guns would kick like a mule, but be time sensitive.
Yeah.
I am going to examine. I think I'm just going to break cover and run towards the sniper as fast as I can. And
I'll give you advantage on spotting him, like actually physically his body, if you're gonna try to like take another shot on him or something.
yeah, but I don't want to kill him.
Okay. Yeah, because you know generally where he is, and you can see maybe some movement, but you haven't like spotted him.
Right. So
I will need an acrobatics check for you to get down this portion of the cliff towards him, if that's what you're trying to do.
okay.
Oh, or you don't have to do that. Your choice. Because I forgot what you have, and you might have too.
No, I know.
Okay. Just a friendly reminder. I don't remember if that takes a bonus action or not. So
She just looks like she's on a zip line.
it'd be pretty awesome. Because at this point, it's basically just gonna be a battle scene of like Wonder Woman.
Well, what did you say? Acrobatics or athletics?
I'll take either.
Yeah, I'm not very good at either of them. No, I'll just click my heels, so to speak, and
Okay. I don't remember what rules we came out for, like what was a minimum or anything like that, but hopefully you have that somewhere, like a little card for these boots, and just record kind of the time of however long you're going to be. And then yeah, so you just sail right down, and it is basically like a slow-mo jump with these little things fluttering. Unless you want to stay in the air towards him, if you just want to kind of like jump down and land on the beach using them, you can do that as well. At which point in time, I'll half the amount of time you use. However you want to do it is fine. There might be a couple things we have to kind of figure out with how this works. But
oh no, I have said here that I'm have to. Oh no, wait, it just at least counts as a minute then. I think.
so you can either keep flying, or you can just do this badass like sail down, like you said, like a zipline, sail down to the beach, land, and then take off towards him.
Well, he's in the rocks, right? So now I'll just fly towards him.
He's basically behind from your vantage point. He's basically behind a boulder, using it as his thing. But he's still reloading, as far as you can tell.
Yeah.
Because now that you're down, you can see him.
Right. No, I'll just fly towards him, and I'm gonna pull out my my weapon, with the maul. I'm just gonna pull out the maul. Yeah. You know, non-lethal for later.
So what's your movement?
Or
whatever.
Flying speed equal to walking speed. So
30 for you.
Yeah.
So 60 feet for double movement.
Yeah.
Right, so you're halfway to him.
Yep.
Grin. Would you like to murder another person? With holy light.
Please don't.
Well, I see Shae running that way, right?
Yes. Like a badass. Because she's like flying. And you guys have never seen her do this before.
That looks pretty awesome.
You're like, I didn't know Yuan-ti could do this. Although you also don't know she's Yuan-ti. You just know she has some interesting features.
I'm just gonna look down, make sure Phen is doing all right. He looks pretty good after that shot, and I will take off running, swinging my mace.
Another world building note that I forgot previously: tieflings, not a common thing at all. Not just there's a tiefling in town. Cool. Done.
The tiefling is in town.
Maybe, and even more racist probably than like normal. They're very, very rare. They're not like a race. They're like individuals. Anyway, go ahead.
That's about all I got. I'm only going to get 60 feet closer too, right?
Yeah, so you're both about 60 feet from him. Did you already move previous turn?
I moved over to Phen.
Okay, so yeah, you're about 60 feet from him now,
We're like converging sort of from different angles.
basically, and she's above you. All right, it
Wave.
is Meidrax's turn. You got a dog on you.
How do I want to do this? All right, I'm going to call forth a mind spike onto the dog. So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
What is this?
Mind spike. It's from Xanathar's.
Oh, okay. I'm not as familiar with the stuff from there. So a wisdom saving throw?
Me either. Yeah.
A 3.
No.
Minus whatever a dog is minus to wisdom. I
I think they have bonuses to wisdom actually.
It's not enough. I'm gonna tell you that much right now.
All right, so it's 12 psychic damage.
Jesus Christ.
That poor dog.
Yeah, the dog
Right.
dies.
Oh, it dies?
Of shame.
Head
Uh,
fucking explodes.
Because it already took what,
Just its
5
head.
damage? Yeah, no, the dog is dead.
Just its head. Pop.
No, nothing as gruesome as that. But it does kind of like seize. Oh, that might be worse. Jesus, sorry. It kind of just like falls to the ground and is still. It has like a heart attack. This is the way it wanted to go.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, good.
At the beach.
It went to a big happy farm in the sky where it
Dogs
can
love-
run and play all day.
I
Hey,
yell out.
so what does Mind Spike actually, other than killing dogs, what does Mind
Did
Spike
you just
do?
ask if you want to mount the dog?
If he wants it as a mount, as a riding mount.
You
No.
killed it.
It's dead.
Is it dead, or is it like...
Close to dead.
No,
it's
see-
dead.
We should have told him about it's sort of an unspoken, unwritten, but understood rule. No zombie dogs in the
No
party.
zombie
Well, this also may not have been explained. I don't let magic. God, although so I don't have the wording for Mind Spike in front of me. I typically don't let magic do non-lethal damage, but
Yeah. So
Uh.
I will chase after the group for 30 feet.
all right.
Oh, am I... At that point... Oh, I can't. I cast 2 spells. Never mind. I can't cast 2 spells.
Cantrip and real spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But you can maintain concentration on this, or does that only work for the target that you actually cast it on?
It's only the target.
Oh, okay. So does it let you like switch it or anything? Okay. Those of you who have eyes on the guy are gonna see him break and run, throwing the arquebus down because it's big and heavy.
He's scared.
It is Phen's turn.
Phen will loose another arrow at him.
He is now on the other side of the rocks completely. You would be taking a blind shot.
There's no way I can keep up with
No,
him.
you will be left behind.
Yeah, so I want to holler, stay after him, and then
You loot camp.
I-
You spin
no,
your sword. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
what I'm going to do is pick up the sword and board and take cover. Like,
Just
Where I
literally
can-
behind them.
what I'm going to try and do is get to a place where I can see the direction that he, like the guy came from.
Okay. If you run towards the water, which will be pretty much all your movement, not entirely, but you'll be able to see around the out. Like he was basically in an out, like a mound of boulders, kind of in the middle of the beach. So there's beach between that and the water, and then land between that and like the cliffs and the forest. So you just have to get the right view to him. So if you run towards the water and just kind of look out, you'll be able to see where he's running down the beach.
Okay. And then can I see the direction that, from the same point, can I also see where the first guy, the one we talked to a little bit, came from?
As far as you can tell, he probably came from where this guy was, or in this general direction.
Okay. I'm just trying to keep a lookout, so to speak, and then once I get there, I want to take to the shadows.
Okay, you're kind of in the open, but you can start making your way towards some rocks and stuff like that. Back towards the wave break. Shae. Oh, so go ahead.
So I only need something that is a creature size larger than me. So a man-sized creature.
You're unfortunately it's where water and pebble beaches.
Water and sand.
So you can kind of run back a little ways. So you're defended from anything but forward, essentially.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Shae.
Okay, I'm 60 feet away from the sniper?
You
Ish.
were 60 feet away. Now you are 120 feet because he ran. Or about 100 because it took him some effort to kind of get it out of the way.
And I'm never gonna catch him like that. Can I shoot him in the leg?
Yeah. I'll give you a penalty.
Okay, I'll take that penalty. Yeah, I'll just Eldritch blast him in the leg then.
Okay.
Please stop running. Zap.
Disadvantage, I guess,
Sure.
for a cold shot.
Still 18.
Roll damage as your beam just blasts him right in the back of the knee.
Boy. Please stop running. 3. Plus charisma, I guess. Which is,
Do you add your charisma?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 7.
As you agonize him. That is enough to drop him to the ground, and he hits hard and tumbles down across the stones.
Please don't hurt yourself. And I'll continue flying towards him.
Okay. You at full flight and Grim at full run can reach him.
Awesome. Stop resisting.
When you get to him, he's basically on his back, on trying to walk backwards, moving his feet. One of his legs is kind of bummed, but trying to walk himself backwards while facing you guys. And then when he realizes he's not going to be able to get that or get up, he draws a dagger, a long dagger.
Can I see him and what's happening now?
Yeah.
I see that they caught up to him.
Yeah.
Do I have time to cast a spell on him?
It's your turn, yeah.
Oh, well.
It's
excellent.
Whatever.
I want to cast command.
Okay.
He needs to roll wisdom save.
What's your DC?
Versus 14.
He succeeds.
Damn it. Then I guess I don't tell him anything.
Well, I think you would still say the word, so what?
I would tell him to rest.
He yells out, "Get back!"
Son of a bitch. I tried, guys, and I will draw my Morning Star.
Shae, are you going to do anything?
Um,
I presume you're kind of floating a little ways above him.
yeah, I can solve this if we do this like in a turn system. I'll just Misty step behind him and knock him on the head.
There it is.
Alright. You have advantage.
Cool. Uh, 19.
Yeah.
Little. Um,
It was non-lethal, right?
yeah, non-lethal. 4, 7 plus 4. Oh, math. 7 plus 4. I got this. Is 11.
11 damage.
Yeah. Just trying to knock him.
Knock him out.
Cool. Bop. And then I just land. Bloop. Fixed him.
With a plum.
Got him.
End of combat?
Yeah.
Phen will start double timing to those guys.
Everybody okay?
Phen, how you feeling?
That mother fucker.
Language.
As he's unconscious there, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna walk up and break his nose.
No. I'll try to stop him.
Uh,
I'm going to giggle
you
a
guys
little
can
bit.
play that out or RP, or you can actually roll for things.
Please don't hurt him. We're the good guys.
Oh.
Please don't do that. Be the bigger man here.
Wait, Phen. Wait. Whoa. Hold on. See if this makes you feel a little better. I'm going to whisper a little prayer of healing. That's 19.
Heals me up.
Christ. What?
You don't just shoot people.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm
I'm sorry. 17.
Was that the spell you meant to use?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Second level.
Isn't that the one that heals like everyone?
6 people. Yeah, so anybody else except for unconscious guy can take some 17 healing.
You
I don't think anybody else is hurt, though.
No. That's why I was
No.
questioning.
Well, no, the other one doesn't do much, and I knew he was down a bit.
Okay. Just checking.
I've never been shot before. I've only heard about it. But you don't just shoot people.
That was pretty much bullshit.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not against throwing fire or calling down holy, insulting light on someone's ass from time to time. But to hide behind rocks and shoot somebody?
Now, to be fair though, guys.
Where did he drop that thing? Where is it?
Yeah, I'm
rocks.
picking that up on my way up to them.
This is a roughly like 60-pound rifle.
I drop it. No, I am very strong for a wizard or for a caster.
I mean, this is a big wood and metal rifle.
It
This
actually
is
looks pretty
loaded
cool
for-
when you carry it.
This is loaded for bear.
This is not a cheap thing.
If it's
Right,
60 pounds, it's more loaded for dragon.
I've never seen a hollow staff before.
Yeah, no, don't touch anything.
This is a crime scene now?
I drop it.
We should take that back with us. It's
I was
probably
gonna
worth
say, it might go
fortune.
off. He did not get it loaded, though. He was a turn away.
Good. Well,
Um,
obviously, these guys were here for a reason. Should we look around and see if we can find the entrance to their submarine hole?
Let's take this guy back to where we killed his buddy.
A
And
more flared edge.
talk to him as I'm like rubbing my shoulder.
This but longer.
Let's tie him up first. I'll tie him up. Carefully. I don't want to hurt him anymore.
Don't make him like it.
I'll look at his leg as well to see how that is.
So would Phen know enough, being a fighter and knowing about weapons and knowing about guns, know how to make sure that it is not going to explode when we touch it?
You're pretty sure these guns have to be loaded in order to fire, but you don't know how far he got.
Okay, I'll do the stupid thing and look down the barrel and kind of shake it down towards me to see if there's anything there.
I would like you to roll a d20.
Oh no, it's gonna blow my face off. 13?
You do not believe that there is a projectile in it, but you do think the gunpowder is in it.
Okay.
Should I blast it?
No, we need to keep this. We need to try to figure out who made it.
It is entirely unwieldy for you, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I know I can't.
That's the worst looking staff I've ever seen. It's completely impractical. It's too heavy. It's hollow.
Did you see it take down Phen from 120 feet away?
Magic missile. Blah.
Yeah, magic can do a lot of things.
This is different than magic. This is science.
With a Y.
It's like magic, only boring.
So Phen is probably the strongest. How strong are you there, Grim?
Not that strong. 14.
I'm a little stronger. So Phen will tie up or help Shae tie him up, make sure the rope.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that being said, you have the whole halflings and heavy item. I thought you were talking about for the gun, so I was gonna impose a penalty for.
I'm
but
strong
just for
enough
tying the
to
guy up,
carry
it's fine.
it. I'm strong enough to carry it.
Yeah, no, I was more saying just it would be awkward. I thought he was doing something else, but for tying up the guy, you're fine. As long as someone has rope.
Grim picks the gun up just to hold it and says, "How do I look?" But he's holding it backwards.
You look amazing.
I close one eye like I'm aiming.
I would like you to roll a d20.
It's gonna go off in your face.
See,
He's got it
kids
over his shoulder.
No, kids, you should never ever play with guns.
Yeah, you should never touch a gun, never point a gun at anything you do not intend to kill.
That is a natural 2.
The gun goes off.
Fuck. Of course it does.
Just a resounding poof, and it clatters out of your hand as a big blast of fire and smoke goes out the tube.
I scream a little bit, and it sounds like a 6-year-old little girl who's been terrified on Halloween, and I pee a little bit more.
I do.
We gotta get you some
pee.
pants.
Some
diapers.
Right. The gun is no longer loaded, but it is smoking.
Or in my hands.
It is also on the beach. Yes.
All right.
You could destroy the staff.
Let's just hold the gun like it's a stick and not do that anymore. Yeah, you heard me. Phen will kind of motion his hand dude, ugh, fucking guns.
Man, dude, no, seriously, I don't think I'll ever hear again.
And he'll help Shae make sure the knots are nice and tight. Use some of that sailoring skill to make sure she's using good knots.
Yeah,
you should have just killed him. He won't be able to hear a word you say.
And then start kind of dragging him back to the camp. I'm not being gentle with him.
No, it's a rough ride. So it's all right.
And then once we get back to the camp, I'm gonna kind of prop him up.
You think he came to about halfway?
Oh, good. How you doing, buddy?
He struggles a little. Did you gag him?
Yeah, I would have gagged him.
Okay. Then he's struggling a little bit, and then after a while, he starts to kind of make fussy noises.
Calm yourself, shitbag. I just wanted to talk to you guys, and you shot me.
You plop him down next to the bodies, which is a phrase I feel I will say a lot in the next 16 levels.
Yeah.
Next to the body. I mean, one of the guys got incinerated, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he's not gone. I was going to
He's
say,
just
are we
mostly
not
gone.
counting the person as a body? Because obviously I was counting the dog.
So
Also,
that's
also
really the only one that matters.
I'll search the guy we captured.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did his pistol survive the guiding bolt?
Yeah, his body is still there. You like burned a hole in his chest, maybe, if that's what it does. Yeah, the pistol is by his body, still cocked back.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
The way he fell, because of the nature of the magic, he didn't fall forcefully enough that it went off.
Would I know how to make that weapon safe? So that it's not cocked anymore?
I'll take an intelligence check.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Is anyone trained in like tinker's tools or anything like that?
Thieves' tools.
Not gonna help you.
Let me hold on.
If you were
I
a
might have.
gnome, like a good and proper human being,
Gonna try to pick the gun.
this is just a straight intelligence check.
Yeah. Just I'm stretching. Ooh, I rolled a natural 16. So
I like that everything is natural now.
yeah,
You think
16.
you think you can probably pull back on that more, or like slowly move it forward? You're pretty sure as long as it doesn't hit the pin, you're fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna point the bad end away from people and try to make that. No. Phen is going to go in front of the pirate that is now awake and say, I just wanted to talk to you while he's trying to make this safe, pointed at his chest.
Okay, I wasn't gonna make you roll, but now I am. Dexterity.
That's a 14.
It sticks for a minute, and for a brief second, you like accidentally squeeze the trigger, like as you're doing it, and you're like, oh, no, I got it, and then the hammer is now against the pin. You believe the mechanism is
now safe.
I will never say that, but you believe
I
pulling
think
the
it's
trigger
safe.
will not simply release it like on a hairpin. Yes.
Okay. So
Although you do not know if like a revolver pulling the trigger back will still automatically do the hit. It could be double action. You do not know.
right,
You also don't know what those terms mean. So
right. So now I will take it and I'll hold the handle of it and I'll point it at him with my finger on the trigger. Whether he knows if it's going to work or not, I don't really care. And I'll say, I just wanted to talk to you. You shot me. And now I have to angrily get answers out of you. And I'll pull the gag down.
are you wanting to normally talk, or are you wanting to try to make a check of some sort, like intimidation or?
I'm just talking to him.
Okay. When you get the gag out, he like spits a little bit, some blood, that because you basically used rope.
Right.
And it kind of chapped him up a little bit. He spits out kind of blood at you, and it's kind of trailing down his chin a little bit. And he says, "You're all fools."
I am not a fool. I am Meidrax, Next Manus of the Jewelers Guild of House Labara.
He gives you like a weird like side eye.
Now tell the little man what he wants to know, and I'll growl.
Who are you?
He kind of like goes, huh. No one important enough for you to die over, but now that's what you've brought upon you.
Oh, yeah. You're going to do a real good job killing me.
Do you have him up, like on his knees? Like in front
No, I got him like on his butt with his hands behind him.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Leaning up against something, and I'm like standing over him.
Can I just rifle through this guy's pockets See if we find anything.
Yeah, give me a investigation or a sleight of hand.
Uh, Investigation, sleight of hand. I'll take sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand is just you're kind of just rummaging. It's a rummage
Yeah.
roll. Versus investigation, where you're actually thoroughly like checking through things.
Oh, then I'll take investigation.
They will yield different results.
Plus. Okay. That's a 14.
You find 3 large lead projectiles that are shaped kind of like fat mushrooms, and a little baggie of gunpowder. And then you kind of move around and you find a couple copper, so 3 copper and 2 silver coins in his other pocket.
Okay, but no ladders or anything.
No.
Okay.
What about incinerated guy? Did you search him?
I did not search him. No, I was busy.
Okay.
I'll search him.
I just want to know what you know about that big metal ship. Clearly, you guys are into some weird technology.
He looks up at you and he glares.
I saw it. Now, you can either tell us about it and live, or we'll take you back to Baytown and maybe you'll live.
He says, that I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I believe him.
Can roll an insight check.
That's a 18.
He is lying.
I will backhand him and say, "Stop lying to me."
Your hand comes away with blood on it.
Wipe it on his
Well,
shirt.
I have a really good intimidation, so I will stand over him and help in any way I can, growling, looking menacing as a gigantic dragon person.
I'll let Phen, if Phen wants to make a intimidation roll, do it with advantage.
All right. Where's my other D20? There we go. 10s all around. So,
He
9.
just kind of chuckles and goes, huh. You
All
are
right.
a fool if you think
Guys.
you can do anything to hurt me.
Guys, you're doing it all wrong. What you need is a more softer hand.
Go for it.
Grim, give me a investigate or either a search or a rummage check.
That would be 15.
So the difference is kind of like the speed at which you do it. The rummage check or the sleight of hand, you're just kind of digging through pockets. You might get more variety of stuff, like, oh, I checked all 8 pockets. Like very
This is a
quickly.
15 investigation.
Whereas investigation can be like, oh, I got in that pocket.
All the way to the lint.
So you find 6 bullets for this pistol. And kind of looking at it in Phen's hand, you do see that there is some sort of rotary chamber that's like a triangle with like a curve between the points. So you think it's 3 chambers with 1 barrel. But you don't know anything about revolvers and the like, so you're not really sure. This is kind of the technology of like Kangdon, back where you're from. But you're not from Kangdon. I don't think you are. Anyway, I don't remember which country you're from. But this is more technology that you're not familiar with, but that you're kind of aware of.
I'll pocket the lead mushrooms for now. Anything else?
These are shaped more like modern bullets with fairly regular tips. They're copper jacketed and all that. They look like what you would load to like a Colt Peacemaker.
So.
I'm sorry, Shae, you were doing something.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sit next to him and say, "Come on, friend. We've been through a lot today. Why don't you just tell us what you were doing here?" And as I say that, I'm gonna cast Charm Person on him.
Nice.
What is the save there?
It's a Wisdom saving throw.
He crit.
DC. He crit. Okay.
Sorry. Oh, I'm using my new dice, by the way. My new red.
Throw 'em away.
Dice. So this has actually
Yeah.
been rolling very fairly. This has been across the board, everywhere. He says, "Your magic won't save you."
Not well. It will destroy you, and I conjure a firebolt in his face and hold it for a second.
Before like shooting it off into the water, or
Well, just into the ground next to him.
okay, that's fine. I guess you can probably just make it appear and then do nothing with it. But
Now tell them about this ship.
roll an intimidation check.
22.
He kind of lowers his eyes and says, "If you were smart, you'd run away from this place."
That has nothing to do with the ship.
He looks up and he says, "Don't be so..." And you hear thwip, and the side of his head just explodes outward in this red mist. And he just smoothly falls to the ground, just silently, mid-sentence.
Can we see which direction it came from?
It exploded out, away from the water.
Phen's look into the water.
Give me a perception check. With a disadvantage.
Wait. That's a 12.
You don't see anything.
It's got to be out there.
That was gross.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when I kill a guy from far away, I just blow a hole in his chest.
And cauterize the wound.
Right. I mean, none of this exploding faces. That's just gross.
All right. So this has just turned into like full-blown spy mode now.
And it's obvious they can kill
I mean,
us and we can't see
unless
them.
the sniper is still out there ready to shoot you, then it's more like, no, just stay on the
I'll
beach,
yell
you're probably fine.
quickly to the bushes. I can't yell in my house, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phen will duck over to the cliffs and like just do his best to hide.
I'll follow Phen.
Shae just stays out on the beach.
I'm in complete shock. No, I'll follow too. Yeah.
You wait for a while, and you can tell me how long you want to wait and how long you want to wait. But you wait and nothing happens.
I have probably never heard of a gun like that, have I?
Well, I mean, this could have been another rifle from just far away, because you didn't really hear... All you heard was the impact. But it was small caliber enough that all it was basically like red mist out the side.
Right.
Like this, when I described it as like, I didn't mean like, boom, like gore fest. I just meant like literally like, almost like just a 22, just a small caliber thing, but probably
a
some sort of
headshot.
rifle shot from far away. Yeah, precise, right through his temple.
Right. But for the range of it, like, that's really far.
Yeah, you're not entirely sure where it came from, obviously, but you don't see anything. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what to do, guys.
Yeah, we can't go out to those rocks. We'll get shot down.
Yeah. Um. So it's probably what? Middle of the day?
let's call it noon.
Let's really search the camp and thoroughly search the guys.
I don't remember what level spell it is, but Grim, can you speak with the dead?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm going to search their clothing for any distinguishing marks and then search for any distinguishing tattoos.
They're dressed fairly similarly, in kind of heavy brown jackets. They're not the same jacket, but they're kind of a similar feel. They're both kind of sooty or have like grease on their clothes and whatnot.
Like they've been working in a machine shop.
Not terribly far off from that, yeah. The the dog doesn't have anything discerning about it, really. One of the guys looks like he has a tattoo, but you can't make anything out of it. It's just like a geometric shape. Doesn't
Is
look
it
like it means
because
anything.
it's like hidden or just like I've gone up sleeves and cut them up and trying to find.
Oh yeah, no. I presume that you've gotten out of their jackets and whatnot. No, he only has the one tattoo, and it doesn't seem to be. This is the guy who had the pistol. It doesn't seem to be any like it's just basically like almost like what like people would get like a Celtic knot,
Okay.
kind of like that, or like a tribal tattoo, but just a small thing. Uh, if it's a symbol of something, you don't know, but it's not like a tree, and then I could redraw for someone. It's just like shapes, basically, or
Okay.
lines.
All right.
Does anyone know if the priest in town is powerful enough to cast Speak with Dead?
I don't know if any conversation about magic and the priest ever took place.
Yeah, that's true.
Only met him once. Didn't go well.
Yeah, I'm going to do a thorough search of the camp.
One of the crates appears to have food in it. Various degrees of aging for meats. Looks like these two are maybe hunting some sort of game. The other crate has some various conditions of wet pelts.
Do I recognize the pelts?
They're deer.
Okay.
And then there are some bottles of like black powder and some ammunition and whatnot, but relatively small. These guys were out, like hunting or whatever, with limited resources.
Yeah. Probably supposed to bring some of that meat home to the boat.
Or to their children.
Well, I think we should take it and at least try to profit off of their loss.
Yeah. Take all their stuff, but
I feel kind of bad about what's happening here. What if these guys were innocent? Oh my god, are we murderers? Did we just murder a couple of hunters?
They shot first.
They shot first, Shae.
Yeah,
We
because
tried talking to them. I did
threatening
everything
them.
I could.
I'm not happy about what happened here. And she just
They also killed
sits
her.
down. She's just gonna sit down with a hand, with a hat in her hands.
So Phen is going to go try and comfort Shae and explain that he was lying about the boat. He knew about it. There's more about it that he knows. I think he was on that boat, and I think that boat is coming to do terrible things to Baytown.
Yeah, but do you know for sure?
Nope, but I got a gut feeling about it. My guts never led me astray. Brought me to you guys.
Well, I hope you're right, because otherwise, I don't want to think about what it means to us if you're wrong.
Well, do you want to, should we go report ourselves? Would that make you feel better? Like, go tell the captain of the guard what happened? Bring him out here?
I think we should, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I think we should do that too, because it means that we've got some proof. We'll take these guns with us. Because if we leave them and if they're watching us, because I'm pretty sure whoever's on that boat is what did that, because we didn't do that. Somebody else did.
I like to imagine that when you said we didn't do that, for a brief moment the three of you kind of look at Meidrax and then look back. Because you don't know all of his powers, and he did mind spike a dog.
Yeah. No, it's just that mist, that red mist, that felt like what hit me, but not as subtle, if that makes sense. But I think that whoever did that was trying to stop him from talking, and I'm pretty sure that Meidrax here was just about to scare it out of him.
What kind of person does that to his companions?
The bad kind.
This is nothing like in the books.
Never is. And Phen will get this like just sour look on his face and super distraught about something. And get quiet, take the pistol and put it on his belt and start heading back to town.
You can take the guy's holster if you want to like gunsling it. It's gonna be like literally the size of your femur, but
yeah, no, I will
Jesus,
take the holster for sure and like throw it over my back or something.
Because you're like 30 inches tall, maybe.
34, I think, is what I rolled.
All right, so yeah, this is like a third of your body. This pistol.
Yeah, and so I'll just put it like over my back, like the sword blade or the gun blade.
Because on you it looks like a shotgun, basically like a sawed-off shotgun, essentially.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. Phen just got even more badass.
And if anyone questions you the next time you go LARPing, tell them that your DM said you could take a gun. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to carry the large rifle and try to carry both the crate of pelts and meat.
There's no way you can carry both crates. You could strap the rifle to your back and carry one of the crates.
What if we were to fashion some saddlebags for him to wear?
No. Also, you no longer have the option I was going to give you the option. Do you guys want to try to hurry back to camp or not? If you're going to carry one of the crates, you're not going to be able to hurry back to town.
Yeah,
that's not.
We'll go at a normal clip.
This is like a full deer's worth of meat, by the way.
That's a lot of meat.
It is.
Yeah, I won't have to pay for anything for a while. Any food, anyway.
That is a lot of meat. Okay.
You do already almost eat for free in town. Alrighty. You reach town. It takes a little bit longer to get back this time than it did to go out because you're carrying stuff with you. And stopping every once in a while.
I eat some of the deer meat raw.
I'm gonna say that because you took your time and stopped, you're not gonna be exhausted from carrying that, but you are pretty tired. Arms are a little sore from it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're back in town.
I say we. I don't really know in character who to speak with about this. Who's in charge of the town security or anything?
There's a constable, but then there's also the naval officer, lieutenant,
Oh yeah, the constable. I did meet him.
Jaros.
You guys know what we need? We need a bard. Somebody who can play our theme song when we come back to town.
I'm actually pretty good at performance. I just don't have any instruments.
Oh, well, we'll have to keep an eye open.
I can hum it or whistle it.
If you hum a few bars, I can fake it.
But,
So, I don't know who we should talk to first.
I'm going to go to the Brass and Barley and sell the meat.
Just give it to him. That'll mean we eat free.
Yeah. Whatever works. I mean, I've paid for my food thus far.
This will just mean
would
you
have
eat
not
free.
paid since you met and teamed up with Shae.
That's true. I didn't eat that. I didn't pay that morning.
Now, for like good stuff, yeah, you guys still pay, but you pay pretty low. You're mostly pay at that point in time. You're mostly just tossing like a couple coins on the table and then going from there.
Okay, I'll just leave the creative then.
Okay, Sarah
least try.
is still there, and she looks in the meeting. And she's like, "Oh, did you guys go hunting?"
No.
No. This is an animal, right?
Yes, it's venison. It's deer.
No. Okay. No reason why. Okay, thanks, bye. Then she runs back into the kitchen.
That's funny. So
we should let our friends here smoke this up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
To do that, we should probably. I'm going to talk to the constable. And
Yeah, I think we talked to the constable.
people.
First, let's let Meidrax work a deal for this deer meat at the inn.
He just gave it to Sarah.
Okay, next time we gotta let
group
Meidrax
kind of agreed
work
that you were just going to give it away.
Next time he should work the food deal with the meat.
If we get another crate of meat,
Maybe
for him, we will work a deal.
outside the town of Baytown. We should let Meidrax work the deals.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
You think it was probably the equivalent of maybe like 20 gold?
We are so generous to this town.
We really are. All right, Shae. Well, let's go turn ourselves in at the constable.
What are we gonna do with the guns?
I think that we give them to them. As much as I want to keep carrying this because I feel like I look really cool.
Well, if you want the pistol, keep it. We can turn in the rifle. I don't think any of us are going to be able to use it.
We found one firearm.
Yeah, no. Here's the bullets that I found.
Yeah, let's. We'll turn it all into the constable
If he even wants it.
if he even wants it.
It occurs to you that you do not know where the constable is. You have just always run into him outside of like the tavern or walking past the tree.
Uh-oh. This is like one of those weird Scooby-Doo plot twists.
No, you just don't know like where he lives or where his like office.
There is no constable. He died 3 years ago.
Old man Gherkin.
I'll ask Sarah if she knows where he might be.
Oh, okay, you're still inside. She pokes out from the kitchen. She says, he lives on the east side of town, but he might be on the docks or at the dock house. She pops back in.
Thank
And then
you.
you hear the clattering of a like a metal bowl. And then you hear,
I-
welcome.
I think we should check the docks first and make sure we warn the ships there of this ship you've all seen.
Well, we already warned the naval captain
Yeah.
of what we saw.
The captain is Lieutenant Webb. He's not a captain at all, just for the record. His name is not. He is not Captain named Lieutenant Webb.
His name is Lieutenant Webb.
His name was Lieutenant Webb. We are going to the dock to look for the constable.
Okay.
Phen is also going to keep his eyes open for Lieutenant Webb.
Okay, well, Lieutenant Webb is most
Captain
likely
Lieutenant Webb.
in the tower or in his office doing paperwork. You have a feeling that's most of what his day consists of. Possibly inspections out on the dock, but you think he's probably out there. Or probably in there. There are some Navy people walking around. Every once in a while you kind of get Meidrax gets a look, not only for being Dragonborn, but also carrying a large rifle around. So some people are like, that's weird, and other people are like, ooh, that's a nice gun.
We have to watch where those people are running. They know where the constable is.
Okay, so there are a number of small like fishing boats, some that you haven't seen before, just because they've come in to port. There's a small, what you guess is probably a merchant vessel bringing in something. There's the big 3-masted merchant vessel still loading things over time. You think probably like every few hours they get another big thing of crates or another caravan that comes in, and so like there's not often a lot of activity, but then there's a little bit of activity and then it stops and then there's a little bit more, which is probably why it's still 2 weeks out. There's the smaller, sleeker 3-masted ship I think we talked about last time. That's a little bit more decorated, kind of like reddish.
Yeah, the Rose Guild, right?
Yeah, the brothel ship.
Yeah.
You do see that there is some activity moving around on the deck. It looks like people are working and doing general boat stuff. You don't see it's not the same as like at night when it's all lit up with little like colored like tea lights and whatnot. But there are 2 relatively well-dressed women. One is in a yellow. I mean, when I say well-dressed, I mean they're not like in underwear and whatnot. But they're not like in like super finery. But one's in like a yellow dress with ruffles and whatnot. Her hair done up and she's wearing makeup. The other is in a like a light blue dress, and they're kind of they're sitting on some crates next to the ramp up to the ship, and they're kind of talking to one of the. They're kind of talking to mostly to each other. One's eating an apple. They're not really having much patronage at the moment, but they're probably out as for advertisement purposes. But there is a man talking to them, and you recognize the man as the Constable Juros, and he's just kind of out there conversing with them. You see the one naval vessel is actually at the dock today, and there's a couple people moving about, loading things on. People are cleaning. There's a sailor hanging off the side, scrubbing down the boat. The other one is out to the right side of the harbor, maybe like 60 feet from shore. Just kind of sitting out in that part of the rounded protected harbor.
So are we able to walk onto the Rose ship?
No, probably not.
I didn't think so. I lost where it was in the harbor, so
It's just kind of not quite the center of activity, but like the first like finger of dock out, the first branch of dock out, it's over there. So there's all the fishing ships at kind of like the center. You know how like when you go to like a little like lake area or like maybe
a marina
oceanside?
or whatever.
Yeah, it's all the small ships kind of like all together. So like the local ships and like some of the smaller vessels, and then the fingers of the dock out. They have their own full pier or whatever. I don't know what an individual branch of a dock is called. And so they have the little ramp. The two girls are sitting at the edge of the ramp on some crates and barrels and whatnot, talking to Jaros.
Okay.
Actually, they don't have it all to themselves. They have that area to themselves. Further down is a not big but decent-sized ship. But
Okay.
they're kind of by themselves. They've
Phen-
been given a wide berth, as it were, because it's a boat. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Get the joke?
I'm trying to avoid the joke.
I deserve all accolades. Okay, please continue.
I hate puns. So Phen's going to go to where he can get the closest to the constable and whistle and try to get his attention.
I'm sorry, you can walk up right to him.
Oh,
You just
okay.
can't go onto the ship.
Got it.
Well, I mean, you could try, but you imagine you can't just walk onto someone else's ship. But you can walk out on that branch of the dock up to their ramp. Yeah, they're out there for getting people.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
So I'm going to go up to the constable and say, "Hey, sir, can we have a few words? Apologies for the interruption."
He kind of the girls look down at you and they kind of puff themselves up a little bit. The one with the apple kind of looks at you as she raises the fruit to her face, kind of looks down at it, goes, and then wipes it on her bosom, and then takes a bite and winks at you as she bites into the apple. Thank you for the sound effect. The
Phen will blush ever so
the
gently.
constable will kind of turn to you, and we have established that he looks like I'm going to change who he looks like. He looks like Sam Elliott. That's what we're going with. So he's got stubble beyond just his mustache. And he looks down at you and he says, Phen, how's it going?
Phen looks quite flustered.
He says, you spend a little too much time in the sun. That's not his voice. That's fine.
Maybe. We got to talk for a minute. Can we go somewhere where the four of us and you can chat?
He looks at the rest of the group down the dock, just kind of standing there, and he says, "Oh gods, are you with the jeweler now?"
Yeah. He made us a lot of money. It's fine.
He kind of
It's
rubs his
selling
temple.
gems.
And he says, he turns, and he kind of tips his hat and says, "Ladies," and they say, "See you later, lawman." And then he walks and follows you. All right, son, what's this about?
Phen will very quietly and somberly explain what happened. It just as cool as a cucumber, almost like his childish behavior is an act.
So he'll walk over. So the story kind of finishes after you. So I imagine it kind of starts as you're making your way toward the party, and then it finishes after you've been kind of standing there for a minute. And he just kind of looks down at you, and looks at the group, and kind of wipes at his temple and says, or with his little handkerchief, he wipes across his temple and says, or forehead. So you killed 2 men on the beach?
That we did.
And he looks at
And a dog.
Meidrax and goes, and their dog?
And their dog.
They attacked first.
In self-defense.
These bandit types?
So, and that's
Not
where
unheard of.
Phen will pull the pistol off of his back and
He says, hey now, hey.
I will hand it to him in one hand, holding the barrel.
Ooh. And he kind of wiggly fingers
And I
takes it up.
very obviously am holding the rifle.
And he takes it and he looks at it, and then he reaches, because he's wearing kind of a duster as well, and he reaches in and he pulls out what basically looks like basically a peacemaker revolver, but adapted for setting, I guess. And he looks at both of them and he says, "This is nice."
So, and then I'll
Clunky? What? Sorry?
I'll explain how we were trying to talk to the guy that got misted at the end, and explain that I warned the lieutenant about a ship, and I think that has something to do with it.
He looks down and he says, "You told Webb."
Told Webb, I suggested he double the guards, but I think they're more sophisticated than we think.
He looks around, kind of wipes his brow again, kind of pats at his neck, because it's pretty warm out, especially in the direct sun out here on the docks. And he says, well, he has had his boys running around a bit more. He takes his pistol and tucks it back in his holster at his hip, and then takes your pistol and he says, "Were you keeping this?"
I don't think I could ever use it. It's way too big for me, but I think I look really badass with it on.
He starts to put it in his coat pocket unless someone stops him.
Can we keep him, please? If you don't mind.
He looks at you and he says, "You be careful with it." And he flips it around in his hand, like spins it over, like
Wild West
vertical,
style,
and then sideways, and all of a sudden its handle is in your hand.
It's a fucking
Whoa.
cowboy.
Jaros is cowboy.
Fucking love it.
Jorhast, I have a question that may or may not be related to this. How often do you?
I don't need jewelry. Damn it, Meidrax. Damn it, boy. No, go ahead.
How often do you have large merchant ships like that? And I point at the 3-mast one in port.
He kind of scratches at his chin, at the stubble. Right now, or times like this, at most you get 2 to 3 on and off over the course of a month. When all the trade routes are open and everything is bustling, this harbor's full of them. One leaving every few hours.
And the merchants that work on that ship, are they at the guild house? It's a guild house, right? Like an artisan house somewhere in town?
That merchant ship? No. That merchant ship is flying an Altaran flag.
Oh, okay.
So they might be a guild, but they are not. So this is where language is going to start to get tricky, because there are obviously guilds in the classic sense of how we consider them, just like, this town might have a guild for this and this and this. Then there are the guilds of the guild system of Darum.
Yeah.
Which is much more stringently done up, and is all about alliances and the Senate and all that.
There's that merchant building, right?
There's an artisans building, which is basically where the tanners are. So during the bustling season, and some of this he's explaining to you, and some of it I'm just going to give you as much information as possible. So here it's a forge that Roken runs. They mainly do caravan repair and stuff like that. It's not they are not a guild. They're not part of the Artisans Guild. It's just called the Artisans Block. It's basically people catering to the travelers. It gets way busier when if you guys came back and if you guys went away and came back in 6 months, this place would be crazy. There'd be tent cities and all this built. You wouldn't recognize the center of town because it would be filled in with everything else going on.
Okay.
It's unseasonably dry for this time of year. So that's why there's some trade, but there's not a ton.
Have you heard of any pirates around?
Oh, kitty. He says, you get some now and then. Never near the city. Out on the open water? Sure. He gestures out. He's like, water this big? Impossible to control all of it.
Sure.
Especially right here at the borders. Because it's essentially 3 countries meeting on the water.
Right.
And almost 4, but not quite.
Well, if we can keep him, that'd be great. Maybe I can.
The pistol? Yeah, he already swung it back to Shae.
Maybe we can get some lessons sometime, and Phen will wink and smile.
We don't
keep the
right do we? I mean, you
I'm
can't
sorry,
wield it. It's too heavy, right?
The pistol
can't
is not
wield
too
the
heavy
rifle.
for Phen. The rifle is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The
Yeah,
rifle.
The rifle is a heavy weapon.
Yeah.
But
But we
like, the
don't-
mechanic heavy. Sorry. Yeah.
We don't need it, right?
No, but we can
Not
sell
unless
it
you want
instead of just giving it away.
Fair enough.
Yeah. See if we can sell it to the smith. Do you think you could come talk with us? Talk to Lieutenant Webb with us?
He says, "Oh, for sure, boy. If something like this is happening in my town, Webb isn't the only one who's got something to say about it."
Yeah, I feel like there's something bigger happening here. And I'll reiterate the part about him trying to say you'll be sorry. At least that's what I think he was trying to say when his head misted.
You'll be hungry. Bleh.
I feel like I definitely heard an S there, but
You'll be saved.
I guess we'll go to Lieutenant Webb.
Alrighty.
While we're walking, I'll cast a message to remind Phen of your plan for the lights to see if you can see the ship better, and
Yeah.
make sure you bring it up with the lieutenant.
Yep, we're going to talk to him about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay. He says, oh, I'm sorry. So, you get to the I was like, oh, you're in front of it, but no, you're not. There's a naval guard at the door to the navy half of the dockhouse, and Dross doesn't really like stop at him for long, and kind of says, "We're here to talk to Webb." And the kid starts to say, "I'll go get him," and Dross just kind of says, "No, don't worry about it, boy," and just kind of opens the door and steps past him, and the guard's like, "But, sir," and he's like, "Don't worry about it, boy," and he just keeps going, and you're like, I guess follow.
Yeah.
And the Navy
That
officer
awkward,
kind of
like,
steps between like half of you, so he can follow along and be close. And as soon as like the room opens up, there's a couple officers like and personnel like kind of looking over maps and ledgers and whatnot. And of course, Webb's office is over to the side, and his door is open, and you see the man with his hat off but his uniform on, going over some sort of paperwork. And the Navy guy kind of reaches back. Jaros is just walking into the room, and so the lieutenant kind of notices something, and as he looks up, the guy's, "Sir, the constable's here to see you. He said," and Webb said, "It's all right. Return to your post." He kind of looks at the whole party and he says, "Constable, what can I do for you?" He looks down at Phen. He says, "Is this about what we spoke of the other day?
yep. It's getting worse, I
Do you
think.
have more information?" He stands up now. From the desk.
Phen will make sure that everybody's in and come and close the door behind him. And he will explain calmly, coolly, collected, same thing. Break it all down to him in as much detail as possible.
And he looks
Show him
and
the
he says,
pistol, show him the rifle.
he takes, if you let him, he will take one of the guns. And you say, these aren't standard Navy issue. You wouldn't use guns like these on open boats. Maybe the arquebus from long range, but this other one is for close quarters.
Are there guns that will shoot super long range?
He looks up at you and says, That rifle will hit quite a distance.
But accurately? I know the longer I shoot with my bow, I lose accuracy.
He says you should be able to get, with training at least, as much as you can get out of a longbow with that. But a gun that big, a gun that heavy, would take some effort. We only have a few personnel who would know how to operate a gun crew like this, and we use weapons like these on a crew of 3.
This was one guy using this particular rifle.
He says, he kind of looks around and he says, they're not stamped, but they are, if you look at the ironwork, I would say they're Dernhast. They're not dissimilar to models I'm familiar with, but they're not quite the same.
Grim, you thought
Modified, perhaps.
You thought his accent could have been from Dernhast, right?
Oh, sure.
I got a feeling, Lieutenant.
The Dernhast accent is quasi-Russian to German. I know that for someone who kind of lives in that region, Lex, that you're probably like, that's not, you can't say that. But I would say it ranges between those two, if that makes sense. When speaking English, obviously, not in the actual.
Does Turnhost in the past ever shown any interest in this region?
Is the actual response you probably get from one of them. Dernhast invaded this entire region in the last war. That's why Baytown isn't built up more than it is. Between the nations. Then there was also the war with like the Dread Legion and all that, in which Dernhast had to abandon the front and let the Dread Army, the Legion, march through past them while they were themselves under siege. Dernhast has in the past been an aggressor nation. They conquered Kasan, which is the little nation between Altara and Dernhast over on the left here, on the other side of this lake. Yeah, they and Altara do not have they are currently, allies is a strong word, but it'd be very similar to where Kador and Signar are now. And like I've said a couple times, in my mind, Altara has been Signar, Dernhast has been Kador, because Privateer Press came out with War Machine around the same time that I started building this world. And so I always remember kind of thinking, like, associating the, like, blue and the trenchers and, you know, those kind of knights with Altara, and then more the, like, heavy shit with Dernhast and whatnot. And Dernhast is more industrial than, but like heavy industrial, which is, whereas like Darum is like steampunk industrial, and then Altara is more like higher science industrial, if that makes sense, like arcane / mechanics, but for like pure industry. So Dernhast is very similar to like Fire Nation in Last Airbender.
Okay.
They're not aggressive like that now, and they are not bad people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there have been reasons for the invasions in the past,
mm-hmm.
not just land grabs. Like the Altaran, centuries ago, in like the second generation of the Altaran like royal family, the crown prince married the emperor's daughter, the Dernhast emperor's daughter, and then they were assassinated along with their entire family, ending that royal line, moving it to the next son in line, and now the royal family is descended from that second son. And that sparked a war because of the... And those of you who have played Crusader, so George and Lex, the Party Crashers event where you rescue the princess from like goblins and all that, and then from assassins. You remember going through the castle? It's where the flan is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was to prevent it happening again, essentially.
Okay.
Very similar situation. Except the first time, it didn't work. They were killed while at the theater.
Oh.
Batman. Except
So it's
no one survived.
so it's
Very much like the Russian Tsar and his family. What?
right. So it's not unreasonable to assume Durnos is behind this.
Potentially.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are these weapons from their military?
So what he's saying is they're not stamped. Whereas like Durnhost, like Arsenal, Arsenal would stamp their weapons, just like Altara or Darum would as well. And he'll actually show you on his, he has a firearm, a very sleek pistol, similar to Jiras's, but slightly more polished, not as gritty gunslinger, but more like naval officer. And it has the Altaran crest on it with crossed pistols for the particular arsenal it was made at.
Is there any way we can check these to see if they had a stamp and it was smelted off?
He says he doesn't think so. There's no. It doesn't look like anything was filed away or anything like these. These were created from whatever. These are. They look like. It'd be like if you took like a kit for a gun or something like that. It was made in the same way as certain Durnhost weapons, and then modded.
Okay.
Like typically this Durnhost pistol would only have 2 chambers, and they'd be basically like in a pill, like cross section. It would be like an ellipse shape, right? Straight sides, rounded edge, and you would just flip it over and then fire the second shot. Whereas this has the 3.
So I'll ask Lieutenant Webb if we can potentially send a patrol out to that area, do a little better investigation than just us. Maybe set up some scouts out there.
He says he will the one ship, the Hysteria. Shit, did I say these guys are Darum Navy or are they Altaran?
I think he
I
said
just
they
said
were
his
Darum.
weapon was Altaran. They should be Darum, I'm pretty sure. Which have I said in the past? Do you guys remember?
I think in the past you called them Darum.
They should be Darum. They should be dressed in blue and be Darum.
Yeah, if they were
I
blue.
just misspoke now. So he has the Darum seal with crossed pistols on it. Well, actually, for Darum it would be crossed cannons. Apologies there. He says he will send the Hysteria out as soon as they finish loading her and getting the crew set, and it will patrol that area of the harbor. And he will
Appreciate it.
double the guard for all times at in the beacon, and also in the docks to see if people are coming and going from the docks a little bit better.
About the beacon,
Before you do that, he's going to. You notice because you're starting to talk to him and bring up a thing. You notice that he looks down at his desk at some of the letters, and actually kind of puts his hand down and grabs a piece of paper and kind of looks at it again. It was what he was reading a moment ago, and then he kind of folds it up, but he keeps it in his hand, and he kind of like half exasperatedly or like just thinking about something. He kind of looks back at you and says, "Yes, about the beacon."
if we could, I think we'll be able to see that ship better if we can turn it off.
He says, "I don't think I can turn off the beacon now."
And I'll start to explain like light saturation and what it's like to be out on the sea.
He stops you and he says, "No, boy, I've been a sailor and probably an officer longer than you've been alive. I mean no disrespect, but this is a concept I understand. I cannot turn off the beacon because we are expecting further support to this region." And he kind of holds up the letter, and Dra says, what are they sending? He replies, you've heard the rumors of the gun line? He's kind of asking you, and Jaros is kind of nodding sagely. But
Phen will shake his head no.
he says, the Dernhost lines have been reinforced over the last few weeks, fairly significantly, with new artillery positions. This is not unusual, but it is something to be observed. At least that we have to observe. This letter, and he holds it up, is from Altaran Command. They are sending 2 regiments. One via our port, and one via the roads. They will arrive this week. I cannot turn off the beacon.
Understood.
And Jaros says, 2 regiments, Webb. The man nods. Blah 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 blah. I can do this. Webb says, close to 2,000 men, all heading to the front. And he says, pardon me, the border.
I'll ask, is there any way to get a message to the ships coming into port here about this situation?
Jaros will rub the back of his neck and just kind of shake his head and say, ain't even the busy season. Well, I best prepare. And he says,
I mean, then.
Oh, no, he's not answering you. He's just speaking right now. And he's like, I best prepare. And he leaves. And he looks back at you guys and says, find me if you need me. Webb looks at you and says, I do not have any scryers under my command.
You got a small ship? Just a little one I can sail?
He says, no. I have my two ships, and they have to stay here.
Can you help us get mounts to get past this point on the beach, and we can get ahead of them, or between these Durhasians and the ships coming in?
Okay, so the ships coming in. Oh, you mean between the hidden ship and them? Yes. He says, well, I am sending the Asteria. She would be visible, and as soon as the ships are within range, her Magus would be able to contact them. But I don't believe he has the ability to reach that far. And also, unfortunately, I am not certain of their arrival date. You understand, they are allies, but not... Don't forget, we're talking about 2 different armies now from 2 different nations.
Okay, right. They're Altaran?
The Altarans are the ones who are coming to the border.
Okay.
And this is Darum.
Yeah.
So this is a republic, then there's the kingdom, and then there's the empire. They all basically meet at Baytown. Baytown is about 100 miles from the border of Dernhost. The no man's land is approximately 5 to 10 miles, depending on how far back Dernhost is from their border. They usually sit 5 miles back, and then the no man's land is about 5 miles. Dernhost has reinforced positions up, which is what the rumors have been about, what they're talking about. Which is why 1,000 Navy personnel and then 1,000. They're probably carrying troops via the ships as well, so it won't be quite that many Navy. It'll probably be infantry on those ships. But essentially, the town is going to get 2,000 people bigger.
Yeah,
oh man.
By the end of the week.
Overnight, basically.
of soldiers.
Yeah. Well, the
Well,
Rose will be happy.
This is not the first time.
If
So-
Dernhost
They will
is
probably
planning
not be
something.
happy, actually.
Yeah.
Altarans do not share the same freedom of leave, let's say. Those men will probably be on duty the whole time.
All right, then. Grim, what do you think?
I say we go for it.
Does anyone have underwater breathing? Just go take care of this shit. Come on. I can't be held responsible for what spells you guys don't take.
I wonder if we should see if we can't get aboard the Estonia.
Hysteria.
Asteria. That was close.
It's not bad, yeah.
Either one.
The other one is the Karenwin.
You think he'd let us on?
Oh, probably not. Guessing from what you've heard before. I mean, granted, different circumstances now. You can ask, but they do not allow non-personnel on their ships.
Phen will ask and say, hey, I want to help you guys find whatever this thing is. I know you think I'm probably crazy, but I'm the only
He
one.
stops you. He says, I don't think you're crazy.
I appreciate
I just
that.
don't know what this is.
Neither do I, and that's what scares me.
He
I've
says,
seen a lot of boats.
I was more like you in my younger days, before I joined up. Decided to abandon the free companies for an actual commission. First and foremost, Jaros may not believe it all the time, but my job is to protect this town. I can't let you on the Asteria. Because of the situation now, I have to follow the book to the letter. With 2 armies that could potentially go to war over a single misunderstanding or a single shot in the woods, as this morning, and he kind of looks over you and looks at the rifle on your back. I can't let you on the Asteria. You can, however, continue to investigate this on land and free of my and my men's intervention.
All right.
And the Asteria will be out on patrol.
All right, Lieutenant. We'll let you know anything we find out.
He kind of puts his hand to his temple and rubs a little bit and says, most likely, the troop buildup means nothing. But now we have a wild card, and that simply cannot be allowed.
Do you think there will be a meeting of the leadership?
For my benefit, what do you mean?
Particularly like between him and the Altaran military leaders that are there,
He will
whatever lieutenants.
probably actually have to like completely give up control, because those regiments are going to come in with like
Generals or whatever,
or
like whatever
colonels or
higher
something.
tier.
But he will be in command of the docks. That will be it.
All right,
The
then
Altaran army has free pass through Darum lands, basically from the bottleneck of the Briarwood over.
okay.
Like
Then
basically Baytown is neutral. It's part of Darum, but it is neutral territory as far as those 2 armies are concerned.
Got it.
Now, you have seen Dernhos soldiers in the inn. Don't forget.
Yeah.
They can also freely pass just as citizens and whatnot. It is truly neutral territory, but Darum is allied closer to Altara and is more of a truce or just neutrality to Dernhost. And
Right.
other areas, just whatever.
Um,
For the most part, it's everyone versus Dernhost. As the case tends to be.
Poor Dernhost.
Nah, Yeah.
They are the most powerful. Except for when the Dread Legion invaded and took over like half of Dernhost. Then things got bad. But so they have a history of enslavement to evil and breaking free of that. They are also the same lands of like giants and orcs. They are a hardened people. But they also conquered and ruled with an iron fist over Kasan for a very long time. And Altara freed Kasan. So that's the closest alliance is Kasan and Altara. And those the royal family of Kasan or of Altara is married with leadership of not this current generation. I don't think I'd have to look that up, but in the past they're very close, I should say.
This kind of world building is the reason the third book in the Terra series is so good.
You can say that. The fourth is such a slog, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who names an adventuring group the Good Guys?
It was not me. I dost protest. All right. So
there aren't a lot of marketing companies around Baytown.
Webb will say, well, gentlemen and lady, obviously I have a lot to attend to. I don't know what your plans are, but I do suggest you attempt to enjoy Baytown for as long as you can. He says, kind of not snidely at you, but snidely because of what's about to happen.
Right.
And he'll kind of he's explained a little bit like, oh, when the army comes in, Altara, yeah, they're good guys and whatnot, but they're still fucking soldiers and like power hungry, like generals and whatnot. And
Sure.
There's some bullshit there.
It becomes Pearl Harbor before World War II and America entered.
Hey, don't think too hard about it because you don't want to spoil things.
Okay. Well, we're leaving, right? We're leaving his office.
Yeah.
Presumably. He's gonna shuffle you out unless you're gonna say more to him.
As we're leaving, Phen will say, "Holler if you need me. I'll do what I can."
He's not gonna leave his office with you in it.
Right.
He's gonna lock it behind him. So George, did you have anything you wanted to say?
How long ago did you see the Dernhost soldiers?
Just a couple nights ago.
So you're just talking to them. Are you guys leaving?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see him go off and start talking to some of his people, and they start looking up at him, and then they take the maps that are on the table and put other maps over them and other ledgers and whatnot. Now they're in some shit. And as you're leaving, you hear from up on the beacon, you hear a whistle blast 3 short times, and you kind of look out, and the activity on the Asteria changes.
All right.
I'm sorry. No,
Well,
yeah. So you saw them. I think you've seen them every night you've been there, except maybe the previous night, and that I don't remember offhand.
It's still early enough to go by the smithy, right?
It is 3:00.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm heading to Rokin's.
I'll come with you.
Well, if Shae's going,
guess I gotta follow and make sure Shae doesn't die. Winks.
Thanks.
All right. Rokin is at his anvil hammering something out. It appears to be he's making little chains, so he might be making chainmail or something to that effect.
I'll call over the banging of the hammer for him.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna. He responds. He can hear over. He's used to this, so he's just gonna talk to you over it while he's working. What can I do for you, lad?
We found this, and I'll put the rifle on his counter, or I'll hold it up or whatever.
He looks sideways, like as he's swinging down, then back and hits, and he's not missing his mark, but he's like looking over and then when he kind of sees what you have, he hits past what he's working on onto the anvil, shakes off what's on the hammer, and then shoves his tools kind of where they go, and cleans up his hands, walks over and looks at it and says, I didn't think you needed any more help killing those boars.
We found this on a hunter along the coast. Have you ever seen anything specifically in this design?
Ah, it's human.
Is that all you can tell me about it?
He says, it's a heavy rifle. Military. I don't know which.
Phen will
It's
pull
not
the
my
pistol
people.
and hand it to him and say, what about this one?
Ah, same lad.
That's what I was afraid of. You interested in the rifle?
He scratches at his beard. Not a lot of call for a boomstick like that.
There might be in a week.
What? What have you heard, lad?
I didn't say nothing, just
A little insider trading.
I don't think I'm supposed to say anything, but
He says, come on, Phen. Throw it about Roken.
Phen will kind of look around, and I just forgot the name of that country.
Altara.
Altara. I'll just say Altara's on its way.
He goes, oh, fuck.
So,
Oh, they're good enough people. My family lives up there.
but that's what I know.
In the mountains, obviously. Not as... So under Altara, really.
There you go. I've always wanted to see a dwarf city.
Lad, you should. You ever get a
That kind of
chance.
shakes it off.
It's an entirely new world. Well, an entirely old world. You know, we were in most of this region before any humans were ever here. And your people just kind of sprung up. Not really sure where they're from. Anyway,
Nobody ever
anyway,
paid
what
attention to us.
are we doing? He says, I suppose they're reinforcing the lines, having heard that Dernhost is doing the same.
Yep.
Humans and their squabbles.
Yep.
Good talk.
He says,
Damn.
I don't know if I'll be able to sell it easily. I have no real use for it.
I can understand that. I'll interrupt him. Is there any way that you could store it somewhere here? It's quite heavy and cumbersome to carry around, but I believe we may need it in the future.
He says, I was going to offer you 200 gold for it.
How much?
200?
I turn around to the party. What do you guys say?
The only sources of, like, prices on guns I've ever found is, like, Arquebus is at, like, 1,500, which I don't think is right for what this is. So I'm going to say that for kind of this junky-ish version of... Yeah, no, it's $200 item, I'm going to say. Is what he's willing to give you for it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
He looks over at Shae and he says, "Oh, lass. That's me, not him, looking up. You were looking for a spot of chain before, weren't you?
Yeah, that's true.
I tell you what, I'll be done with this shirt tomorrow. Especially any kind of sizes you up real fast." And he says, "Especially because I'll need less than I was planning. I'll tailor it to you, and I'll give you 180 gold and the shirt for your pig killer."
That's a fashionable chainmail shirt, right?
He gestures over to it and he says, "Finest in all of Baytown.
Just checking.
Plus,
Phen will
Yeah.
chuckle.
He's got,
only in all of
he's got,
Baytown,
like-
kind of nudge him.
he's got like pretty hefty cuffs on, like leather and iron cuffs on his arms, kind of dwarven, runic geometric shapes, and he hits them together, and he says, "Plus, I made it, so it's not gonna break on you."
That's a fair point. And I do trust in your in the quality of your.
You're gonna get shot straight through it. And just be like, fuck! Broken!
You're lying, cheating. Yeah, it's not a bad deal.
It's
Seems
about
fair to me.
20 off a chain shirt.
And
Is that right? It's either 20 or 30 off a chain shirt.
considering I wouldn't be needing it anymore, how much would you be willing to give for my leather armor?
Says I don't have a lot of call for it.
She'll autograph it.
He looks at you and he says, "I'll throw in the skirt bits for free and a fair trade if you want." Which really won't do anything, like mechanically won't do anything, but you'll have bits of chain beyond just like a chain shirt. So he'll reinforce your pants is basically what he's saying.
Okay, sure.
But again,
It's one of those dresses that
mechanically-
just looks like a really big shirt.
So it'll be like at your waist there will be chains down the like almost like rider pants, but not with the weird fucking knee things going on, but like where the pockets of like your jeans or your pants would be, that's gonna be like chain. It's gonna be almost like two bits hanging out, which basically he's protecting your thighs. Because a chain shirt giving you 15 AC is silly. So more of it giving you 15 AC is spot on.
Okay. Are you guys okay with this?
Oh yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right then. Sounds like we have a deal.
I always
Small,
forget about you guys selling your stuff afterwards because I would have just included that in the deal. You're still saving like 15 gold over a chainmail shirt. So.
And I'll like seal the deal with like a dwarven deal sealing handshake.
He laughs big at that. And says, Good lass. I'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, he before he lets go, he says, What? And he reaches over and he grabs it looks like he's reaching for one of the irons in the fire. And you kind of panic for a minute because you don't know what's going to happen. And he reaches for a different piece of like iron that has like etchings in it, like marks. And he grabs it real fast, kind of whips it around, and just kind of like puts it up against you if you play. Not like against you, but kind of just holds it up near you a couple places and says, oh, all right. Built like an elf. Go see Mirabelle. Get fed. And then he goes immediately back to work.
That's exactly what I do. I leave for the brass and barley.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Me too.
I could go with an early dinner.
Phen is going to go to the brass and barley, but you said there was like a deck up there, right?
Inside.
Inside.
Yeah, it's a mezzanine.
Or
like
there
a second
windows?
floor that's open.
There are
There
windows
are,
facing the water.
There are windows facing, if you saw my map, the north, so you can see the water and part of the dock, but there are no windows facing west.
Okay.
So you're mainly looking back over the town and out to the left, if you go.
All right. Yeah.
As you enter, you see the two Dernhos soldiers are up on the second level like they usually are in their normal spot. And it's a few. The crowd is generally what you've seen at this time of day, around 4, 5 o'clock. The crowd is about, just general like a couple caravan guard looking people, a couple Navy personnel, although probably less than normal because they were probably gathered for whatever they're supposed to be doing. So there's maybe 1 or 2 guys in there. Possibly who were so far into their day off that they are not able to go back. A couple farmer-looking people. The woman with the tightly done back bun of silver hair is at the bar. She's looking at a half-full glass of wine, and her lips are kind of pursed, and she's looking at it, and she looks kind of lost in thought. Then she takes a sip, and she doesn't seem to be enjoying it as much as she was the wine the other day. But let's see other notable people. Petunia is in the bar. She's the gnome who works at the Half Harbor Inn. She is talking to Mirabelle, who probably has been here for a couple hours now, having relieved Sarah. And Taran is, of course, behind the bar. So Mirabelle and Petunia are over in a corner, kind of talking conspiratorially and like giggling to each other and whatnot, because they're best friends.
Sure. So Phen's going to go up to them and start with just casual conversation, and then pull out 3 gold and hand it to Mirabelle and point it, or like gesture to the Durnholst soldiers. So I want them drunk.
The history of this is they live in an area called the Dern. Okay? So when it was the many clans fighting over that territory, the person who eventually came out on top was from the Dern, not just the area. So he was from that. It basically is the old language of that area for the hill, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or something to that effect, a loose translation. So those who serve him are the host of the Dern host. So it has become Durnhost.
So yeah, Phen's gonna tell Mirabelle that
Just a
he
fun little
wants
side
them drunk.
She looks down. She says, "They never drink that much."
Figure out a way. I need it to happen.
While that's happening, I'm going to whisper to Grim, should I go talk to them? Should we go talk to them?
From what I understand, it's probably not a good idea. Although they might need some jewelry assistance.
I thought so.
They do generally have there's an area around them that is usually not occupied.
Right.
Okay.
Given a wide berth.
So Mirabelle's going to put her hand on Petunia's hand, kind of pat it, and say, "Well, I'm off to work, darling." And Petunia says, "Yeah, I have to go make... Actually," she looks at Phen, "I have to go clean your room." She says, "Okay, see you later." And then she runs off.
So, Meidrax,
she stops. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, it's not uncommon for those soldiers to have jewelry from their mothers that requires a little bit of work.
That is actually true.
Or possibly the lovers.
The mother is greatly revered in Durnhost.
Sometimes mother lover, same thing. They're sensitive about that, though, so be careful if you bring it up.
Actually, that's a pretty good way to get hurt. The matriarch, or the mother, or the grandmother especially, the Baba, is greatly revered in Durnhost. Even in folklore, the witch of the woods and all that, like, we're talking deep root superstition on that. But yes, mothers are very, very much key. The biggest, outside of the very, very north, the biggest mountain in all of the Westerlands is in Durnhost, down to the bottom left. It is called the Empress, named for one of the greatest leaders in Durnhost history, which was not the Emperor, but was his widow, and she just revolutionized the entire country. And so the big bay of Durnhost is actually called Empress Bay. I think it's called out on the map, named for her. So in that kind of that peninsula up to the left of the Empress Bay, there is a giant mountain that, I mean, it's like 3 times larger than any of the mountains around it. It's huge. It'd be like Everest in the Cascades.
I'm going to drop the 2 silver like the night before for a plate of meat and a night of drinks.
You get some very familiar venison.
And then I'm going to go up onto the mezzanine and sit near the soldiers.
They'll kind of look over at you, and are you kind of like staring at them awkwardly, or like
Full on glare.
Oh, glare.
Yeah.
they'll like when they kind of like see you looking, they'll start to nod, and then when you glare, they'll turn away from you.
Mhm.
They are maybe looking to not start shit. At which point in time, Mirabelle arrives with 2 very large tankards of ale and tells them it's on the house. They start to protest. Thick accents, very very Russian kind of accent with these guys, but like gruff. The And she says, "No, you guys can't argue. It's all taken care of. We just want you to feel welcome. Isn't that right, Meidrax?" And she stares right at you, just like a mother, like, stop it.
I'll reply, I do not know what your intentions are.
Eyes on your own food, lad. And then she walks away down. So there's a bit of a buzz around the bar. Obviously, some people have noticed the Navy kind of doing some stuff, yada yada. Bar starts to fill up a little bit more. The ladies from the ship out in the harbor come in. They are not allowed to ply their trade here directly, but they are allowed to make friends and have a good time. And actually, one of the girls, a younger woman, about 20 or so, curly blonde hair, blue blouse, and pants, which is a little bit more rare. Typically, they're wearing what you've seen. They're wearing skirts. She actually has a fiddle, and she starts playing. And the place starts to kind of come alive as she plays, and she has 3 other women with her, and they're pretty brightly dressed. Not like Romani or Vistani, like brightly dressed, but almost like the 3 like twin or triplet girls from Beauty and the Beast. Anyway, they are a myriad of design, and they're dancing with various people, and everyone's having a good time. They're not looking to take money from anyone. They're not looking to do business. It doesn't look like they're here to just have fun. Perhaps they have the night off. You don't really know how that works. And the place kind of comes alive and is having a good time. And if anyone was doing anything else, then I have forgotten it. So.
What are the soldiers doing during this revelry?
They are eating and drinking, and then they have finished their meals, and they're kind of just drinking. And when the stuff starts, one of them kind of elbows the other and points down, and they kind of turn their chairs a little bit so they can look down over the balcony.
I was going to say my perception's really low, but do I see any weapons or jewelry on them?
They're wearing pretty heavy wool coats, which is not quite right for this climate. Each does have a sword on his hip.
Okay.
That you can see. One of them has a ring on his finger with just a simple metal band of some sort. And you can't really see anything on the other, but you wouldn't be able to tell if they had necklaces or anything like that. They both have beards that are fairly thick for military, but that's not rare in Durnhast, whereas it would be rare in Daru or Altara. They're fairly well manicured. They're not like wild, but they're a little bit more like lumberjacky than you'd be used to on like a cleaned up officer.
Okay.
And they have, of course, the emblems. They have a red patch on their shoulder, and it has a gold bar. It is metal, but it's not necessarily actually gold. And it's got some design that you don't know because you don't know military, especially Durnhast history. But
Okay.
One has 2 bars and the other has a chevron with a bar on it. Not important at all, but world building.
Does anyone have anything to do before I engage them?
Fireball.
Phen is just watching, waiting for him to get.
Are you upstairs, Phen, or are you downstairs?
I'd like to be somewhere downstairs, like at the bar.
Okay. The bar has a pretty good view of the whole place. If you have your back to the door at the front of the bar, then you can be at the center or the left or the right or whatever. There are some other people around. The woman with the silver hair is diagonal across from you. You would have to look directly left and up to see the Dernhos people. You would have to look back into the left to see Meidrax. If you look directly to your right, over in most of the front corner and side is where the girls are dancing and having a good time and all that. And then there are booths around and there are other people.
Okay.
And then the Minotaur is upstairs with his. It's not important.
What I will do is I will sit so that I can casually chat with the girl with the silver hair, and
Because you want to sit on the back of the bar.
Yeah, so I can casually chat, but while talking to her and making eye contact, I can kind of glance up at them and see just how drunk they're getting. You know
and
that
would be the best seat to do it. And,
Perfect.
You see that they will drink out of their tankards, and Mirabelle does take them another set of because these tankards are solid; they're not glass. She takes them another set, and you don't think they even finished their old ones before she brought these, and rather than they give her back the non-empty ones and take the new ones. And as she's kind of walking away, she looks at you and she shrugs. But you've probably met some Dernhost people, maybe military. They tend to be a fairly disciplined people. So,
Okay.
You've heard rumors about how stick up the ass their military is.
All right.
So you're chatting to the woman who you have not met before.
Yeah, seriously, just small talk.
She's polite enough. She's fairly quiet. She doesn't really start anything, but if you kind of ask her a question, she'll answer, and then after a few seconds, she'll be like, "Oh, well, how do you find the weather?" Or whatever. Kind of takes a moment. She's like, "Oh, maybe I should have said something back."
Right.
You think she's probably about. She's either in her mid to late 20s, but just pure silver hair. Not grayed too early. It's silver.
Right.
And lustrous.
I'll ask her name and introduce myself.
She says, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, Phen. I am I am a vet." And then she after stumbling or stuttering over that, she takes a sip of her wine, and she probably drinks a little too much or got a little too much of the tannins or something. She kind of goes, "Oh, excuse me. It's not quite as good as the wine the other days."
Well, let's get you a better glass. You bet.
This is the best they have, I fear. Apparently, I finished all of their Holarian wine. They had very little, and they were kind enough to give me the last of it. It's unfortunate. Do you like Holarian wine?
Not a wine drinker.
Oh, it's
beer drinker.
I'm not a big drinker either, but I do enjoy wine, especially all of the inherent magic in it. How it can grow in one region and be so vastly different. An Olarian wine, kissed by the same sun that once touched the court of the elves. It is very fine. It is unfortunate that they have no more. Apparently, it has been a dwindling supply and very hard to get. Trouble on the road, I suppose.
Yeah, probably. Kind of look for Grim and Shae and see what they're doing.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's about 8 o'clock now. Sun is starting to set, kind of dusk-ish. Unless you guys think it would be kind of later. Depends on how you kind of applied the various times that you're doing things.
Shay's just having a drink and finishing up some food.
Same.
Are you at the bar with Phen, or
No, I'm just on the table.
I'm at a table with Shae.
left side or party side?
Left side away from the party.
You cannot see from here what's happening above you.
That's cool.
But I don't know if you guys are as much involved in that as the others.
No, I have a plate of food in front of me.
Really, really involved in these potatoes.
Yeah, so
Okay, I'm going to approach them, the soldiers.
As you kind of approach, they turn back to you, and they turn their seats back towards the table more, so they're not watching what's going on. And the man with the 2 bars on his arm says, "You seem to be staring at us all night. I don't suppose we have a problem. I hope not." And the other man says, "Jury, do not worry. He is here. He is a friend. Dragon Man, would you like to join us?"
Okay, and I'll sit down. My name is Meidrax Nexamanus. I'm with the Jewelers Guild of House Labara.
I do not know Labara.
I'm looking for work as a gem cutter, jewelry crafter, and jewelry repair person.
The one who was referred to as Jury, or Yuri, says, you're not quite sure because the accent is.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure either because I don't care. No, I'm kidding. It is Juri. He says, "Ah, a jeweler. This is a noble profession."
I like to think so.
Good, Dragon Man. Are you from here?
I'm from Asun.
Oh, you have come a long way.
Yes.
I have been to Asun once. It was very, very warm and sandy.
It certainly is.
Basically, he's been like just over the border. He says, "My company and I, we visit to learn the ways of the Crimson Guard." The Crimson Guard are aptly named because they wear deep red dyed steel, very shiny, and they protect one of the cities in Asun. They're kind of like a renowned city guard or army, as the case would be.
Yes. They're a capable militia, but I have not been to Asun in many, many years.
Oh, this is
I
unfortunate.
I trained in Durham as a jewel master, or a jewelry master. And if you need any jewelry worked on, I look directly at the ring. Or crafted, I'll be in town for a few days.
The other man says, "I appreciate your offer, but no, this ring belonged to my father. I have no need for it to be repaired. It is It is iron and it is strong. And he kind of looks at it, holds up his hand. And it's really just like a...
Anyway, I'll say iron. Yes, I've heard your people are good with iron.
Ours the best, other than maybe dwarves. I don't know what happened to the accent right there. I'll get it back. It's fine.
It's okay.
He says, yes, it is in our blood, and it runs deep in Dernhast. Have you been to Dernhast before?
No.
You should see it. Your land is very beautiful in its own right, but Dernhast, especially in winter, it is harsh. Nowhere in the world is as close to perfection. The cities,
I do
they
like
are
perfect
alright.
things.
Sorry, say again?
I do like perfect things. Or things.
They cheers you.
Yeah.
They seem very friendly.
Not sure Meidrax can pick up on that either way. But I'll ask him, if you're so good with iron, do you know how to make it float? Do your people know how to make it float?
You mean boats?
Yes, boats of iron.
We do armor our boats, yes. Our naval ships are nigh impenetrable.
Okay.
Of course,
I'm trying
during
to
any
be
time of this,
clever,
other
but-
people can come upstairs. If anyone feels like, oh, we've left him alone for too long, just feel free. You can also interject and whatnot. You don't have to just...
Yeah.
Because
I'm
this is all
also-
happening after everything we've established that you guys have done so far. So
I'm trying to be clever, but not too clever because he does not have good mental stats.
Yeah. And Phen, of course, you see that he is talking to them now.
And just cheers them with a tankard.
Yeah, I'm watching very closely and looking for some sort of expression that Meidrax might need help or feel like he's on a good path or something like that.
Which you're
or-
not going to get from him.
Yeah, so
The two men are
basically
the two men
looking
are
at-
smiling. If that helps.
Meidrax looks a little stressed right now because he doesn't know how to lie, and that's what he needs to do. I'm gonna tell them to please excuse me. I'll be back and I'll bring drinks with me.
They say there is no need. We have full tankards here.
Oh, there's always room for more. And I'll leave, acting as if I'm going to. Well, that's lying too. I can't do that. All right. I'll just.
I mean, he can try. It's just,
Is there an outhouse or a privy nearby?
there are, yes, outside.
Okay. I will head towards one of them.
Okay. They're accessible through the back left corner as well, but they are outside.
Okay.
Okay.
Does Phen see him come down and like go?
Oh yeah. No,
back?
Phen has full view of everything happening.
Okay. I will politely excuse myself from my conversation with
Yvette.
Yvette, or a K name. Did she actually stutter when she said that?
She said exactly what I said.
Okay. I'll politely excuse myself and then go talk to Meidrax.
Mhm.
What's going on, man? What?
Like I told you, I'm not good with lying, but I don't know how to gather any more information from them without telling them of our experience this morning.
Okay.
Grimm said that he is a liar. Perhaps he could help us.
I am not a liar.
The greatest line.
Well,
I think you
Adam
did say
can,
that to him once, though.
Adam can lie, but Phen is bad at it. So I got to role play my way through it, which is a little bit challenging right now.
Mm.
Okay, so do you need me to come up there and talk with you, or
Do you need help?
You said that you don't lie either. That'll probably create the situation.
No, but I can talk my way out of just about anything.
See, I
Just
can
not
talk
lying.
my way into things.
So, okay, I'll try to stumble my way up there.
I will tell you before we go back in that they do have a mastery of iron boats.
Interesting.
Of course, you already knew that their military has armored ships.
Yeah, but he said iron boats.
Translation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You don't know that, but
right.
They said that they armor their boats, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, or their vessels.
they're typically the same as like wooden vessels, and they have armor plating over them.
Okay. Before I go back,
Typically,
I'm going to test the distance of message to
120
Grim.
feet. Did you intercept him before he got outside? Because if so, you're just at the back corner and he's at the front corner, and you can just literally go, yeah, oh hey. But if you're outside, then yes.
Can the soldiers see me?
No,
from
you
when
are
I
under. You are under the
mezzanine?
the second floor.
Okay. I will use it while I'm under there to whisper that we need a liar. You can reply to this message.
Really creepy, dude. Are you in my head?
Yes.
And pointing at you from across the bar, just staring at you.
Wow. Okay, I'm on my way. What am I lying about?
Just to gather more information and not tell them about our fight this morning.
Uh-huh. Okay, I will make my way up to the mezzanine.
Okay.
Shae is kind of surprised to see Grim just up and leave his food. What's
Like
left of his food?
talking to myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phen is going to go back to having the conversation with the woman with the silver hair and watching what's happening.
Say,
Did you remember to grab drinks, or did you forget?
Oh, I totally forgot.
Okay. They look
Um,
at you and they say, "You've brought a friend, but you have forgotten your ale."
sorry. I don't have the best eyes, as I'm always squinting. They can see this. And I didn't realize that my friend Grim here was in the bar.
How's it
He saw
going,
me
guys?
arriving and decided to join me, and we're, up here now.
Now, Grim wears his accoutrement out.
Yes.
They look at you and they Yuri starts to stand.
What was the other one's name?
You didn't get it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I don't know if you guys caught on, but Meidrax is a genius with jewelry. My grandmother left me a pendant that had a loose stone in it. He was able to fix it while I had a beer. It was amazing.
Yuri starts to stand and he says, "Father, we would be honored if you join us."
Oh, I'd love to.
He pulls out a chair for you. He's very clearly staring at your holy symbol.
Oh, you like
the
that?
other man stands up just a little bit and nods and says, "Please." And they both sit down.
Before I sit, I'll wave at Mirabelle and try to signal for 4 more drinks.
It'd be amazing if you only had like 3 fingers. Like
Yeah.
everybody, like reptile. You're like,
If you use
but
both
there's
hands.
also one. She's like, what? Meidrax, what do you want?
You want 31 beers?
No. Yeah, she nods, and you see her get four glasses.
Okay.
Yuri has a smile on his face, and he seems to kind of be looking at you in deference, and he says, "Are you the priest of the church across the street?"
Me, no. No, I'm not so much a church type priest.
I do not
I've been
understand what that
traveling.
means.
I've been traveling for some time.
Very good. Gabriel, what is word? A missionary.
Yeah, you could say that. I'm on a mission from God.
I set it up for you.
What are you boys in town for?
We are the other man will speak. You think this man is a little bit older, not by a lot, but a little bit older. You also think he outranks the other man. You're kind of war clericiness. You look at their shoulders. You're able to kind of weigh that. You understand from military tradition and all that. You're guessing chevron and bar beats 2 bars, just as a simple geometric calculation. And he says, "We are the envoy of Durnhold," and you'll notice he said Durnhold, which is the capital of, because it's the hold of the Dern. See, it all works, and it's all very simple in common. In their language, it's batshit crazy and means all sorts of things, but it's fine. And so he says, "We essentially live here for a time.
Oh, you boys new in town, or have you been here for a while?
We have been here Yuri, 3 weeks.
Oh, well, maybe you've heard some of the same crazy stories I have. I mean,
It is a traveling town. There are many, many stories.
and as a
Unfortunately-
traveling priest, I have heard many myself. But in this town, some of the stories have been the same. I don't know, Meidrax, maybe you've heard some of these stories too. I mean, I can't tell you any names because, God doesn't like that kind of stuff. But I can tell you there's been a lot of crazy talk about strange, dark, magical vessels on the water. Crazy types
the
with
two of them
weird
look at each
weapons
other.
in the woods.
And they laugh and they say, "We have not heard of ghost ships."
Oh, yeah. A ship with no sails, no lights, seemingly no crew. You should hear the stories people talk about. Madmen in the woods.
Interesting. We do not know these Dorum stories very much. Unfortunately, it is our role here to keep eyes, but the locals, obviously, of course, do not look on us the same way. They are welcoming enough, and Mirabel is very nice, but we do not have much conversation with the locals.
Have you heard any talk about crazy madmen in the woods that can kill you from a distance?
No. We have heard the ghost stories of the woods.
Oh, those are true. Although the
We,
mummy
of course, know
stories,
about the ogres, but
yeah, don't worry about the mummies anymore. Those were taken care of.
I do not know of the mummies. This
Nobody
is
heard
an
of the
interesting
mummies in the-
story. You should tell us.
Ooh, you know who tells this story really well? I've got a halfling friend that really loves to tell this story.
We have heard of the halfling.
Have you? Have you met him yet?
And Yuri says, no, we have heard the halfling. And they both kind of laugh a little bit. And they say, no, we
Nice.
have not met him, but we have seen the little one.
I'm gonna stand up and just shout his name across the bar.
Yvette, recoils again. Winces as she shouts until she locates what's going on, and she's sitting next to you.
Oh. If you couldn't tell, that was my hand hitting my forehead.
Oh, no, we got it.
Hi, Grim.
Hey, Phen.
Are you walking up there? Or are you yelling
I'll
at us?
look up there and yell it.
'Cause
So,
you're a significant distance away from each other,
Yeah,
and there's a fiddle.
it's fine.
My
Gotta
new
yell up
friends
that
here
pedal.
need to hear the story of how Shae took down the mummy.
Where is Shae?
Under you,
Off being heroic.
by yourself, at a table,
Heroic.
I think.
Sipping wine. Okay, Phen
Oh,
will,
she's drinking.
Heroically sipping wine.
Phen will nod and ask Yvette if she would like to come hear the story of the great hero Shae.
She kind of looks up, and you see, not It's not fear, it's apprehension. And she says, I don't know that would be for the best. I don't know if this is her voice either.
You're doing a great job, Jason.
Thank you. Just wait until I add Blinksy the toy maker. Because you have not lived until you have heard my Barovian toy maker accent.
That one is great. Yeah.
I'm sure I've used it with George for other things in the past, but it's fine. Anyway, she says, you should go and that's not her voice. You should
Close
go and
enough.
have a good time with your friends. I should be retiring anyway. It is quite late.
Phen will muster himself so he's like standing on the bar stool and kind of lean over and hug her and then hop
She
down. And
does not like that. She is not a touchy person. She will
Phen
lean
doesn't
back
care.
and she will extend a hand out to shake it and say, "It was very nice meeting you."
Okay, you too. And he'll hop down and like a little kid.
She seemed very nice when you were talking to her, but she's very prim and proper sounding, but not in like a pushy way. It almost seems like she kind of lets it down when you're kind of talking, and then when there's a moment where it can come back, it comes back up. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
And you see that she leaves.